Hey guys, the real estate doctor here. It's my right hand man, Alex, over here trying to figure out how to get all the crazy music off. But thank you. Thank you for coming to my first masterclass. And let's see, here we go. Here we go. Thank you for coming to my first masterclass. It's the real estate doctor here. I am super excited to teach you guys how to make $100,000 in 6 months. That's my real goal. If you don't know anything about me or you're not following me on social media, um, I've been doing real estate for 25 years. I've done over 8,000 transactions. I'm still doing transactions every day, multiple transactions, 15, 20 deals a day. I'm here really to give back. And I've done over my career amazing things with myself and with people that really didn't have any real estate knowledge. And I showed them, and I want to show you how easy it is to make money in real estate. And even in a recession, I know we're in a recession and bank chaos and all those other things. So what you can expect tonight is first off, we're going to be here for at least 2 hours, maybe more, depends on how many questions we get, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to answer all your questions. You can put them in the chat. And a matter of fact, to make sure that the chat works, why don't you just put in the chat, where you're hailing from, what city, what country, wherever you're coming from, what you're looking to learn here. But think about the questions that you're going to ask. I'm going to give you so much information in 2 hours, maybe more than 2 hours, from my 30 years of experience. You're going to have a ton of questions. So please put them in there. I'm going to answer them at the end of this masterclass. So first off, if you also don't know me, one of the very important things that distinguish me from other people that are on social is, really I haven't been on social until 4 months ago. I was, I'm always doing deals. And, I've been busy doing deals. So I never got on social. I didn't see the benefit of social, but my team, I got about 50 people that work with me. My team were like, listen, you got to get on social, share this message, try to help people, because you can help a lot of people. And that's why we're here. So I'm here on social. I have one of my social guys, Alex, and my podcast guy here. He's going to help. He's going to, give me some of your questions when you guys ask the questions, but I just want to give you a little bit of the format here. So I'm going to go for 2 hours. We're going to go like an hour. We're going to talk a little bit, and then we're going to talk about some subjects, and then we're going to go another hour, and I'm going to have the questions and answers after the full presentation here. So I'm going to flip to the PowerPoint, and just please forgive me if I'm not the best at this. Here we go. All right. So how to make your first 6-7 figures in real estate. So first off, it is very, very real. And I keep saying that whatever your situation is, if you already got money, if you have no money, if you have no assets, you can make this money in 6 months. So let me show you how to do that. And another thing I want to say too is, I'm not a guy that's going to tell you, let's make a ton of money and go buy, Rolexes and Lamborghinis and stuff like that. I'm not that social guy. I'm a guy that's going to tell you to make the right financial moves so that you don't have to work every day. One of the things that's important to me is somebody told me a long time ago that, when you're self-employed or even when you're employed, you wake up every day unemployed. You need to make money. The goal of investing in real estate, and one of the beauties of investing in real estate, is that you can set your life up to where you don't have to wake up and go out there and grind and make money. You can, if you want to sleep in for a day, a week, a month, 6 months, you can do it because you're making passive income. That's the beauty of real estate. So let's not forget that these are tough times. And I don't want anybody to think like, hey, I'm blowing smoke here. All of these things, like we're in a recession. Anybody that thinks we're not is, smoking. But we are in a recession right now. But we've been in a recession many times. I've been in a recession probably 4 or 5 times as an adult. And, you kind of get the hang of these recessions and things, when you're in your 20s, your first recession, you don't really know what's going on and you feel like things are happening to you. But really, these things are happening for you. A recession is an opportunity for you to make
a ton of money. Most billionaires and millionaires made their most money during recession. But it is scary. It's a scary time, especially when banks start failing. I mean, it reminds me of 2008 again. Banks start failing, and then you add the inflation factor. It's a scary time. So I don't want to say that it's not scary, but there is so much opportunity. You can't be afraid to go out and hunt when there's this opportunity. You will, like, I'll give you an example. We all just went through COVID, right? During COVID, when that first happened, and listen, that was a first for me. I was like, oh my God, I guess I told my wife, I think I'm going to be, I'll take my first vacation ever. I might be off for a couple months, and, the funny thing is I never stopped working and ended up working harder. There was a lot of opportunities, but at first it was very, very scary, but people took their money out of the stock market. People ran away. And what happened? They took their money out of the stock market, and then boom, the stock market went right back up. So you look, I'm going to say I did it too. Cash is king when you're in a recession. So, I liquidated some of that, all of it. And, I was too late to get back in on the stock market side. But one of the great things about the stock market was, hey, the stock market went right back up. So you had a good example of why you shouldn't have ran at that point. Actually, you should have bought more. But I understand it was scary. Now, I'm not a stock guy. I'm the real estate doctor. What I did do during that time was I bought property like crazy. And I'll never forget for the rest of my life the opportunities. And I see them coming right now. I was calling people and I was going, hey, I'm the only person that's going to buy your house right now. Now, I know you guys all remember that, hey, real estate went up during COVID, but it did in March, April, May. People were scared. No one was buying. I was buying. I probably bought more property in those 3 months than I bought in the 3 years, prior. And the properties that I bought in those 3 months, in a year and a half, were worth 4 times what I bought them for a couple of reasons. One, because people were desperate and I got amazing deals, but also because the market went up. It was one of the best moves I've ever made in my life. So in the stock market, yeah, maybe it's not my thing. I can't play that game. But in real estate, it's really not quantum physics. It's like, hey, if the property cash flows and you were willing to buy the property for $400,000 and it was cash flowing, and now suddenly people are desperate and they're going to sell for $200,000. Well, every one of you right now are going to tell me, oh, of course I would have done that too, but you wouldn't, because you would have been scared. Everyone was scared. So we are now in a time period where people are scared. So, you shouldn't be scared these times. You have to have a level head and see the opportunity. So let me get back. People are losing their jobs. There's inflation. Houses are the best place to have your money right now. I think people are just figuring out now. I always wonder how people didn't know that. If you have more than $250,000 in the bank, in one bank account, and the bank goes under, like these banks have gone, if the government doesn't step in and cover you like they have been doing, and they can't do that forever, and every time they cover, they print more money, which makes the value of your dollar less, which also makes property assets go up in price. I don't want to get too complicated here. The best place to have your money, the safest place to have your money is in a house, a physical house, and especially a house that makes you money. So one of the things I'm seeing right now is that, and I'm seeing it right now, the market, there's no retail buyers. Even 3 months ago, there were people buying houses and they were, competing with me to buy houses. They had a line of credit from here. They had, money from their aunt. Everybody was buying. They're not buying now. And the bank's going down. Some people that wanted to buy, retail buyers, so somebody moving into a house that wanted to buy, they are suddenly under contract, and now the bank won't do their deal anymore. So I think there was like 20%, I think I saw the statistic today, 20% of under contract houses last month failed. People backed out of the deals and were willing to lose their deposits. So I will tell you, for the retail market, that's super scary. But what that means is there's less people to buy. And when there's less people to buy, then guess what? People like me, and I'm going to teach you how, have great opportunities to get great deals. Cash is king right now. But when I say that, everybody thinks, well, man, maybe I don't have all the cash, but you don't need to have the cash. You just need to get access to the cash. And I'll show you how to get access to that cash. So there's always somebody that has cash that wants to invest even in a recession. And they will, if you have the right opportunity, they will be with you, So really, I'm seeing opportunities everywhere. I know it's a scary time. So I just wanted to get that out of the way that, hey, I'm not blowing smoke. I know the situation that we're in right now. And for me, I'm super pumped about it. And I'm going to teach you how to be pumped about it too. So the goals of this masterclass is really for me to introduce you to the idea that you can make $100,000 in real estate in the next 6 months, which, it could be 100,000, it could be $1 million. It all depends on your personal situation and how much you hustle. I have 2 sons. My one son, started playing soccer, and I'm like, listen, I don't care if you score a goal. You just need to hustle the whole time. If you hustle, and I had to explain to him what hustle was. So I was like, work hard, keep working hard, etc. Go after it, do your best. So if you're going to put in the effort, or hustle, like I call it, if you're going to put in the effort, you're going to make the money. It's simple as that. I'm going to show you that anybody, that's number 3 here, that anybody can do it. So if you have no money, bad credit, you can do it. If you have money and good credit, you can do it. And I'm going to illustrate to you all the methods in which you can make this money, even in a recession right now. So let me move on to the next slide here. All right. So what qualifications do you need to make this money? First off, like I said, anybody can do it. All methods work for those with good credit and capital. So if you're already perfect in the eyes of everybody, Mr. 850 credit score, and you have a nice job and you have a couple dollars in the bank, I always joke around, the only way you have an 850 credit score is you didn't take any risk in life. But hey, you can not take risk, and you really need to benefit from that 850 credit score, 700 credit score. Not many people have 850. But if you have capital and credit, for sure, every one of the methods I'm going to teach you works. Some of the methods work for people with bad credit and no capital. Not obviously, not every method is going to work. But if you're sitting here going, man, I want to make something happen. I have the time. I'm willing to put in the effort. I'm willing to learn, invest in myself. And I just don't have the money, and I don't have the capital. Well, I'll show you how you can do it, and I'll show you how to get access to that capital. The other thing I want to say, somebody asked me last night when I was having dinner with somebody. They said, well, listen, what if I have capital, but I got bad credit? Listen, you can mix and match. If you have capital and bad credit, you can still make it happen. You can make it happen with, every method I'm going to teach you. So all these methods work, and if you are willing to be an active real estate investor, then you can definitely make anything happen. Now, I know some of you have jobs. I don't want anybody to quit a job that's, paying you money right now. When I first started in real estate, I was a CPA, and I accumulated probably my first 50 houses when I was working as CPA, and I would just buy houses, and it was easy. I could just get, I could easily get a mortgage because you're super bankable, because, hey, he's got a good job. So whatever, if you have a job and credit, you can buy real estate easily, and you can start to add to your passive income. So that's basically all the qualifications. They work for everybody. They work if you want to work full-time in real estate, if you want to work part-time in real estate, everything.
We have people connected from Miami, New York, Salt Lake City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Illinois. So we have people from all over the place. That's great.
All right. All over the USA. So, well, let me just add this too. All these methods work in all those markets. I've invested, in 25 different states. I can tell you that, I can basically go I don't want to say anywhere. You can go anywhere and find a good deal. Some places are harder to find good deals. And one of the things that people do when they are investing is they want to invest close to their home because they're comfortable close to their home. But, if you live in New York City, you gotta make big money to play even in the low end market over there. So, you don't need to be right next door to wherever you're going to invest. This is especially now, you can get so much information on the internet. People are working remotely. You can get people to check things out for you and get different reports. So I just want to mention that, one, we can make this happen for you anywhere in the United States. probably in other countries too, but I'm not the expert. I have invested in other countries. The methods that I'm talking about work in the United States. Now, if you're not from the United States, that's okay too. You can do all these methods too. Some of them you'll be limited to, but I'll explain those too. Okay, so let's keep it moving here. All right, so some of the methods that you can make 6 figures in real estate are flipping. So flipping is like this sexy word. Everybody likes flipping. So that's basically where you buy a property, you fix it up or don't fix it up, or you do cosmetic work to it and you sell it for more money. So I'll get into that in a little bit more detail later. There's active flipping, which means, you know, if you ever see these TV shows where people go into the house and they're actually working in the house, or they're real, you know, they're paying attention to like where they buy the house, and they're paying attention to doing the construction, and they're designing the house. So there's active, and then there's passive flipping. So, you know, to be honest, I'm probably in between the active and the passive. You know, I buy houses. I buy 50, 60 houses a month. I don't go into any of those houses when I buy them. So from that sense, I'm passive. You know, like I said, you can do things without physically being there. Now, the other passive way is you can find deals and either partner with other people, or you can remotely, you know, put things together, you know, have a real estate, estimates, and monitor things remotely. I don't want to get too much into that because I'm going to get into it in more detail later. There's wholesaling. Wholesaling, which I think is a great method for people that basically have no money or no credit. Wholesaling, what a concept this is here is, you know, I'll give you one example. I'll get into it in more detail, but wholesaling is where you go and put a house under contract, and you don't buy the house. You put it under contract, you get a piece of paper, now you have the house under contract, and you find somebody else that has the money and the means to finish the house, and you go, hey, I got this piece of paper for $500,000. Will you give me $520,000? And you don't close on it. They just pay you the difference. 520 minus 500, you make $20,000. That's called an assignment fee because you're assigning a contract. So wholesaling is something that goes on every day, everywhere. And a lot of people are not aware of it, or they're aware of it and they don't know how to do it. I can tell you that if you're a beginner, this is like a no-brainer. And again, funny, with my dinner I had last night, I told this to a pretty experienced guy. And they're like, oh my God, I would love to do wholesaling, even though this person already had tons of capital. It's a sexy, awesome thing. And I'll tell some funny stories about wholesaling when we get into that. You also can buy properties below market value, and especially right now, below market value and off market is below market value and off market properties are where you really get what I call built-in equity. So if you can get a house, and what I'm going to say to you, you might think is crazy, but I literally do this multiple times a day, and you can do it too. So if you can go and put a house that you know is worth $200,000, now let's not get into how do I know it's worth $200,000. There's ways you can ascertain whether it's $200,000 or not, and you can put it under contract and close on it for $150,000. You may not have cashed out that $50,000 in equity right now, but you increased your net worth $50,000 like that by finding a deal. So one of the things I'll get into a little bit later too, that is very important, is that finding a good deal is more important. Some people are always like, how are you going to sell the property? And I don't want to get too much into this, but finding the deal is the most important part. And be willing to embarrass yourself with an offer. This is something, if you're not embarrassed by your offer is not good enough. And I really, really mean that. Like literally, when I make the offer, I know I'm going to insult the person. I know I'm going to feel uncomfortable. And most of the time, people say no. But sometimes people say yes. And before you know it, you got the most fantastic deal you ever thought you would. But so you can't be embarrassed to make an offer, and you got to make a lot of offers. And you will find a good deal. So please don't be afraid to make, embarrassing offers. Okay. Next thing is the BRRRR strategy, as we call it. This is something some people have, again, I wasn't on social, right? So, when I got on social, I said, let me see other people that are doing real estate and what they're talking about, et cetera, in real estate. And some people, their whole methods, all they do is this BRRRR strategy. The BRRRR strategy is super effective. You can really build up wealth, and you can use very little money to scale big amount of investment property in your portfolio. So I'll get into the BRRRR method also later in this, but I'm just introducing you to it. Another method which I love, which may sound crazy to you, but everything that I'm telling you may sound crazy just because you just haven't done it. So, I'm not, I always say, like, I'm not an astrophysicist. So anytime I hear something about, anything crazy with that, it sounds nuts to me, because that's not what I do every day. But what I do every day is I buy and sell houses. So some people think, excuse me, buying and selling houses is this big complicated thing. For me, this is like buying a newspaper. Well, nobody buys newspapers anymore. This is like clicking a link and buying something on the internet. It's just buying something that you know what to do with, and you know how to make money. So one of the ways that if you want to get cash, you can actually buy a property and walk away with money. So sometimes people, think this is nuts, but this is true. So, one of the things that I like to do is, hey, let's say you want $30,000, find a good deal, go buy the property, find yourself a lender, and you can overfinance the house. Now, I wouldn't do that unless you are cash flowing. So let's say the property cash flows and you can overfinance it $30,000. What do you care if you take that $30,000 when you buy it or later when you sell it? For me, I'd rather have the money now, because I can take that $30,000 and I can roll that money into another investment. Now, I'm not going to buy, well, you can't buy a Lamborghini with $30,000, but I'm not going to buy a Prius or anything with that. I'm going to buy another asset, another house. I'm not going to buy a Rolex. So that's one of the methods I like to do, especially if you need cash and you want to start building your capital, buy some houses, overfinance them, and it's also not taxable to you. So one of the great things about that is you take the $30,000, it's tax free. It's not a capital gain as if you were flipping a property. So let's see.
We have over 1,000 people connected in your masterclass.
Okay. Well, hey, first masterclass, over 1,000 people. That's exciting, guys. Thank you for coming. I hope everybody got on here. I know I'm talking a little too fast. Alex is looking at me like I'm nuts, but I'm so excited. So
also, we want to thank people for the love on social. We have some crazy numbers. 3-point-something million views in one video only. We have surpassed the 10 million views in only 3 months.
Wow.
Which is insane. So you wanna thank everybody there.
Yes, thank you. Please, guys, continue to follow. You're really giving me motivation to continue. When you see one of your videos, go viral and get 4 million views, you go, wow, that's content. People really like this content, and you want to give more content. So I appreciate that. But another thing we want to talk about here is
so number one,
Alex is killing me over here.
Yeah, you want to thank people like close, look at them in the eyes.
Yeah, all right. Well, I got to find a camera over here. So no, guys, seriously, I'm sincerely happy. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping that I continue to give you value. I hope that, really, I don't want you to just watch my videos. I want you to do something with it. So, there's people, I've been around people, and I've educated myself, and I've educated myself in real estate, and I've been in seminars with people, and expensive seminars, right? First off, I've been in seminars where, I'm paying, and sometimes people are like, what are you, crazy? Why would you pay for that seminar? 2 reasons why I'll pay for a seminar. If I have the time to go, I'll go. And even on things that are not specific to my real estate business. 1, because I'll learn something, one thing. And sometimes the one thing, and you learn more than one, but one thing clicks with you, right? That one thing, when you add it to the rest of your repertoire, can really juice the kind of knowledge that you can get, and you can really walk out of there on steroids with a whole new concept of how, to do business. The second thing is the people that go and join groups and are connected together. They're great people. They're like-minded people. I like to be around those type of people. And I also want to know what other people are doing. Everything's changing every day. And, I went to a seminar, not on real estate last year. And it was like on a techie kind of thing. I didn't even know, I'll give it a little shout out. I went to a ClickFunnels seminar, and somebody told me to go to ClickFunnels, right? So I didn't even know what a ClickFunnel was. I thought somebody was doing a beer bong or something. I didn't know what the deal was. So I went to ClickFunnels, and you wouldn't believe how many, especially young, I was like the oldest guy there, young, aggressive, fantastic people are doing fantastic things. So am I going to make my own ClickFunnel? First off, I didn't know what a ClickFunnel is, but now I do. And well, first off, it's good that I learned what a ClickFunnel was. Am I going to make my own ClickFunnel? Am I going to be a funnel builder? Am I, going to do all the, no, but you know what? I'm now aware of those things. I'm aware that there is this world out there that I wasn't aware of. And I met super fantastic people. So I really think, it's important that you get, in a community of like-minded individuals. I'm also a big proponent of, I'm going on a tangent here, of masterminds, but I don't want to get too much sidetracked here. So
I have a question from 7187107755. How do we leverage buying property with zero money down? Is it going through private lenders?
Okay. So, I could do a seminar just on how you buy property with no money down. And I probably will at some point, but private lenders are the best, the easiest method. So, I have a slide for that. So hold that question and I'll get into it and I'll explain. But ultimately, yes, private lenders are the best method, but you can also do them with conventional lenders. So you can do deals, no money, even with conventional lenders. I will tell you, and maybe I won't, I'll just blurt it out here. One of the things I don't like about conventional lenders is they're slow. And a lot of times when you have a good deal, you don't have time to close the deal. Like you can't go put a house under contract for 50% of its market value and tell the guy, well, I'll close in 45 days after I get an appraisal, an inspector comes in and this guy, no, it's never going to happen. Even if your ultimate goal is to put it into a long-term bank financing, you're going to have to take it down with either cash or private financing because those people are not going to give you those deals to close and then go through all that. So I give it, if there's a deal like that and there's multiple offers on the house, if I'm a cash buyer, now I can be a cash buyer with my cash, or I can be a cash buyer with a partner's cash, or I can be a cash buyer with private lending. They don't need to know where my cash comes from. But if I come in and I say, I'm a cash buyer, I'll close as soon as the title is ready, right? I'm going to get that deal before you do, and I'm going to get it for less money. If you come in and say, yeah, I have a mortgage contingency, an appraisal contingency, and this, that, and the other, you're not going to get that deal. And if you are going to get that deal, you're going to pay more for that. And in this market where banks are, shaky, nobody's going to take that deal. That deal's off the table. So if you're going to make a great offer, it needs to be cash, even if it's not your cash. And, even wholesaling has to be cash. Even if you don't have the cash, you make the offer cash and you figure it out. I'll explain how to figure it out. So, you can throw in some of the questions, but I'm going to get in more details here later. All right. I'm also going to talk to you where to find money. So, I guess when you're not in the business or when you're starting out or you don't have your own money, actually, let me just say this. When you have your own money, you will sometimes I almost find that when I have more cash and I'm willing to invest my own cash in a deal, I don't do as good of a deal as when I have no money. So I've always trained the people that work for me and me is assume you have no money. How would you put that deal together? And when you go in with the idea, even when you have money, that I have no money, you will find the most creative ways to finance a deal, to do a deal. And ultimately, the least amount of money that you take out of your pocket and put in a deal will give you the highest return on that investment. So, Is it advantageous when you have money and do you need money to do deals? Ultimately you do need money to do deals, but you can build up cash through methods I'm going to teach you. But if you dump, let's say you said you had $3 million and you got cash and you're going to make all kinds of crazy cash offers, right? You will get a bunch of deals, but after you're done that $3 million, you're done investing unless you refinance. So I don't mind dumping my cash and then getting it right back. That's another method that you need to do. But where to find money is very important, especially for people in the beginning. There's money out there. There's tons of money, even in a recession. People are looking for yields. They're looking to place their money somewhere. Some people don't want to own a house. So there's investors that don't want to own a house, but they don't mind lending on a house. They don't want to deal with the tenant and this and that, but they'll loan you money. I'm going to show you where to find those people. All right, next slide here. All right, flipping. So I get into the first method here a little bit in more detail. So what is flipping? So flipping is you buy a property for $100,000. You put $50,000 in renovation in the property and you sell it for $250,000, right? So I just want to disclosure here. In all transactions, there's closing costs when you buy, there's selling costs when you sell, there's lending costs when you buy. So in that example where you buy it for $100,000, put $50,000 in and sell for $250,000, you will not make $100,000. But for the ease of doing math, let's say you would make $100,000. That's a flip, and that's a good flip. So a flip works a couple ways. Again, the most important thing in a flip is for you to get a deal at a great price. So you have to buy the deal right. You have to be embarrassed by the offer, and you have to get the deal right. That's very important. I'll get into that a little bit more later. Now, on top of that, I always used to say, like, anybody can find a good deal to flip, but any rehabber, and no offense to the construction people here, any rehabber can kill a deal, can kill your deal. So, let's say, you bought the house for $100,000 and your renovation cost is $50,000. Well, if your rehabber ends up being, $75,000, or what happens more times than not, they say it's going to take 6 months to flip it, to finish it, it takes 9 months and there's overruns and this, that, and the other thing. So one, you need to plan for that because it almost always happens. And two, you need to work with people that you trust, and it takes time to develop that. And you need to find the right contractor. If you don't have the right contractor, unless you are the contractor, you can get murdered flipping houses, So that's very important in the whole flipping is who's going to do the contracting. So the method is you buy a house right, you get a good contractor, and then you sell the house. Now, I will tell you, in this market right now, I would not recommend that anybody retail flips. And let me explain what a retail flip is. A retail flip is like, hey, you buy a house in some nice neighborhood. It doesn't even need to be a nice neighborhood, but you buy a house in a nice neighborhood or a not nice neighborhood, and your end buyer is a homeowner, and that homeowner is going to buy the house. Now, there are some programs that, regardless of what's going on with banks, are always around, FHA buyers, et cetera, et cetera. But right now, this market is super dry, super dry. So the only flipping that I'm doing right now is I'm going to buy a house, fix it up, and I'm going to flip it to an investor. So right now, flipping is not the best method for retail investors. And that's why you got to understand what kind of market that you're in. We're in a market where if you're going to sell, you want to sell flips to investors. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, I don't know any investors are going to buy houses. There's tons of investors out there who will buy houses. You just got to know what they're going to buy. An investor is not going to buy the house because it's pretty on a pretty street and it has a nice kitchen. An investor is going to buy the house because it's rented out for X, Y, and Z, and it gives a good yield. So right now, flipping you can still do, but you need to be flipping to investors. So now there's, like I was talking about earlier, there's active flipping and there's passive flipping. So active flipping is, and I know people watch these TV shows and you want to get involved. And listen, when I started, I used to like to go on a Sunday and check out a house and, evaluate the house and all that other stuff. I don't even go to the houses anymore. You don't need to do that. But if you want to do that, you can certainly do that. And if you can actually do some of the work, again, you're giving yourself a job, but maybe you enjoy it. Maybe it's a hobby. Then you can actually save some money. I never think that it's worth it. The money that you save, you lose the time. And really, time is the only thing that we really have in life. So I would much rather pay somebody more money, have them do it, and me sit on a beach or in the mountains and watch videos of whatever they're doing in the house. But that being said, you can be an active flipper where you buy the house, you actually do the renovation work, you actually go to the house and check it out, and you deal with the realtors or whoever you're going to deal with. You actually even sell the house yourself. You can do that if you want to do that. I don't do that. I have done that. It's a good way to learn. You're going to learn a lot. In real estate, just like anything in life, you are going to learn. So one of the things I used to tell people when I'm in some of these seminars and they're spending, crazy money, $100,000, education, right? Never did a deal. That's the craziest thing I ever heard. You spent $100,000 to educate yourself, and then you didn't do a deal. You could have just bought something for $100,000 and screwed it all up, and you would have learned more than if you just wrote a check for $100,000 and had me sit here and tell you what to do and never did anything. So if you are interested in being active in real estate and making things happen, I'm your guy. I want those people. I want to show you how you can really make something happen. If you just want to learn, hey, I'm here. You're getting free education tonight. I'm here. I'll give you the education. But the purpose, really what drives me is I want to see you guys make money. There's nothing that makes me happier than see people make money. So that being said, with the flipping, again, I wouldn't be flipping right now to retail investors. In limited cases, I would be flipping to investors. And again, remember, investors are looking for return. So you got to make sure that you're going to give them something that you would buy as an investor, a house that you would rent out and keep. Right now, it's not selling to Susie Homemaker. That's not going to happen. So flipping, can you do it with little or no money? Absolutely, you can do it with little or no money. Again, first off, there's lenders called hard money lenders, which are also private lenders. So let me distinguish against it. There is a lot of formal lenders that are we call them hard money lenders that do construction loans. And some of those loans are, 90% of the purchase and 100% of the construction. So you're really only putting 10% into the deal. It's not a lot of money that you need to put into the deal. So you can do that. You can flip a house with very little money. And a lot of times they will convert those loans into long-term loans at the end. Can you do it, with bad credit or no credit at all? Most hard money lenders could care less about your credit. They only care about the deal. They're usually very local. So if you're investing in Chicago, they're a lender in Chicago. They know Chicago. When you bring them a deal, they know if it's a good deal or not. They don't care if you complete the project or not, because they're not going to give you all the construction money. They're going to give them to you in stages as you progress. And if you fail on that construction, they're just going to take the house back. A lot of those loans are also what's called non-recourse, meaning you didn't personally guarantee them. So they're amazing. You can get a loan from somebody. They're going to give you most of the money to do the construction project. If you fail, they are not going to ding your credit, and they're just going to take the house back. No harm, no foul. Obviously you don't want to fail, but that is the case. So you can do it with no credit, bad credit. You can do it with little or, no money. Well, no money is a little bit hard, but you can go borrow a little bit of money from somebody, some people think that's kind of crazy, but when you're in real estate, there's people start throwing money. Once you find a deal, if you are known as a deal maker, somebody that can find a deal, money's going to start coming to you left and right. But you got to get good at finding deals. Maybe you don't have the capital to do this flip. So you could do what I said on the next method is you could wholesale it. You could buy the house. You have everything together. You could even package the lending together with this. You could go, hey, I got this $100,000 house. It needs a $50,000 renovation. I have an estimate from Bob the builder. You can tell I have kids. And And I have a lender, a hard money lender that will give you all the money. I got it for 100,000, give me 120,000, and you can wholesale it, which is the next subject here too. So there's tons of methods of how to make money in real estate. Flipping is one. Flipping is still good. I love flipping. I'm still flipping houses, and I'm just not flipping retail. I can tell you I probably have 100 houses for sale retail right now, and there's no market. It's very slim. But the houses that I'm selling to investors right now are selling like that. Investors are coming out of the woodwork. People with cash, they want to buy. They know there's opportunities. So that's that. On the wholesaling. So wholesaling for people is, people love wholesaling. So wholesaling, again, is buying and selling a piece of paper. So here is, let's pretend it's a contract. You find a deal from a homeowner and you agree to negotiate the house for $200,000, right? Well, that, hey, you don't even have money. You have no money. All you do is you go in and say, hey, I'm going to buy your house. I'm going to close in 30 days. I'm cash. And you're going, well, I don't have any cash. Well, guess what? You're going to say you have cash because you don't have to have the cash. You just have to find a person that will have the cash to ultimately take you out of the paper. So you basically put the house under contract, $200,000, and you would have a list of people. Now, what you want to do before this is build up a list of buyers in that particular area that are buying deals. So, for instance, most wholesalers have buyers lists, and over time they've developed, hey, the real estate doctor likes to buy these types of properties in this particular area. And anytime you put a house under contract in that area, you go, hey, real estate doctor, I got a deal. I got a deal that you might like. And you just sell them the piece of paper. So if you put under contract for $200,000, you can sell it for $220,000, $230,000, $400,000. It depends on the deal. I'll tell you a little story. One of my best wholesale deals was I bought a property. This is probably 2005. It's a long time ago. But I bought a property and I didn't care. I'm running around. I put it under contract. It's a piece of paper. And, you go, well, if I put it under contract, I got to put a big deposit. No, you don't have to put a big deposit. You really, for a contract to be valid, there has to be what's called consideration. Consideration is money. So you do have to put a deposit. The deposit can be $1. Really, I can't tell you how many contracts I've put $1, or $500 or $1,000, right? So you do have to put a deposit down, and your only risk is whatever that deposit is, right? So, I put this house under contract for $20,000. This is a true story. I'll never forget it. One of the best ones, because it was quick. I put it under contract for $20,000. I was like, I'm not even sure. I don't think, maybe I can sell for $25,000. I went to a real estate networking meeting that evening, and I put out there, hey, what happened was I put it under contract, and then I was driving around and I noticed there's doing all kinds of new construction in this area. That the street that I was on didn't look so hot, but all around was like a lot of new construction. So I started looking, and I'm like, wow, man, it's like a university, and people, they were developing, and I was like, man, maybe I hit a home run, right? So I started looking at comps, comparable sales in the neighborhood, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to sell this thing for $140,000 because I looked at, all these other numbers, and I went to a real estate meeting. And when you're at a real estate meeting, guess who's there? Other real estate investors. So, we got in that real estate meeting, everybody would get up and be able to sell deals. Like you say, hey, I got a deal on, I remember the address, but I won't say it. It's on French Street. So anyway, I got a deal on French Street, and I actually remember who I sold this to. So anyway, I got up, said I got a deal on French Street, $140,000. A couple of people came over to me. Somebody's like, listen, I'll give you $120,000 and, I'll take it right now. I made $100,000 selling a piece of paper, and I didn't even have a chance to put the deposit down. I made $100,000 in less than 24 hours, selling a piece of paper with no money. I didn't even put the deposit down. So for those of you that think that you need money and credit to do deals, you don't. Now, are every one of your wholesale deals going to be $100,000? Probably not. I mean, I have done other $100,000 deals, but they've been bigger deals. I mean, wholesale deals. That was a tremendous one. But listen, you can, I buy from wholesalers all the time. And people go, well, hold on, you're the real estate doctor. Why would you buy from a wholesaler? Well, first off, a deal is a deal is a deal. If you bring me a deal that fits my criteria, I'll buy it from you. I'm not, some people say, where do you find your deals? You know where I find my deals? Everywhere. I find them from a homeowner, I find them from a wholesaler, I find them on the MLS. If a deal fits my criteria and you have an investment strategy, I will take that deal from anywhere. So most wholesaling, maybe you're going to make, I don't want to hold you. Some people will only wholesale. I have a friend. He wholesales contracts. He won't do a deal unless he makes $20,000. So everyone is $20,000. Some people will take $3,000. Some people will partner with people. I can tell you that I probably firsthand am friends with 50 wholesalers. Not one of those wholesalers, not one of them makes less than $500,000. Now, I'm only talking to the good ones because I know they're good and they bring me good deals. But I mean, that means if you're bad, you can make $100,000. So I don't know what you're doing 9 to 5 to make $100,000, and I'm sure buying and selling a piece of paper might not sound sexy to you, and you're not going to go write a book to your mom and say, "Hey, mom, thanks for that college degree, but now I'm selling paper."
Why don't we ask the people at home what they do for a living? Write it down in the chat.
Yeah, do no judgment. Write down what I was an accountant before I got into this, but I will tell you, how I got out of accounting. Another same thing, right? And this is why I'm doing this masterclass. I want you people to understand that real estate can change your life. You can make life-changing income, and you don't have to be a brain surgeon. You just need to know the methods behind it. So, I was working as an accountant. I got my CPA, and I was working, crazy. Accountants work very hard, man, and accountants, lawyers, all these people that are trading time. And, shout out to them. They work really hard, and doctors. They all work super hard. So I think last year, before I retired from accounting, I made and this is 20 years ago, I made $90,000, which was really good money at that time, but I worked crazy hours. In a year, there's 2,080 hours of work if you do 40 hours a week. And unfortunately, when you're billing time, that there's 2,080. That's the maximum amount of hours that you can bill if you billed 40 hours a week for 52 hours a year. I billed 3,000. So that's how much more I worked to make that 90,000. On the side, and I was 24 or something like that. On the side, I made $180,000 doing real estate. I was like, what am I doing? So I quit or retired. My mother wanted to disown me. Still to this day, I think she thinks I'm crazy. But, why would you do that? Why would you give up 3,000 hours of your life for $90,000 when on the side, you're making $180,000? So what I'm not trying to, shout out like, hey, this can be you. If you're unhappy at your job, and listen, I like doing accounting, to be honest with you, but I didn't like 3,000 hours. If you're unhappy with your job, or, you don't have to quit your job, but if you're unhappy with your job, I'm telling you, real estate can change your life. You can get into another industry like real estate. I think real estate is like no one's number one. Nobody comes out of school and says, hey, I want to be in real estate, but they end up over there because there's a lot of money, So anyway, wholesaling is super cool. I just explained how it worked. You don't need money to be a wholesaler. I mean, you need deposit money. So, a couple deposits, I guess, and sometimes people don't check if you put the deposit on the title company. So in any event, you really don't need money. Is it time consuming to be a wholesaler? Yes. You can wholesale part-time, and you can do that. But if you want to be a real good wholesaler, it's something, this would be for somebody, I would recommend it. This would be for somebody that has no money, bad credit, but they got time. If you have time, you can make a killing with this. Now, if you don't have time, like I keep talking about this dinner I had last night, I had a guy with a lot of money. He's like, man, I really think that's awesome. I want to try wholesaling. You could still do wholesaling. You could do one deal. You could say, I'm only going to do one deal a month, and it's going to be something that I can put $20,000, $30,000 on, and that could be your side income. You could make money doing your job and flip, a piece of paper for $20,000, $30,000. And if you really messed up, maybe you only make $5,000 or $10,000 extra that month. So that's wholesaling for you. So, one of the things, one of the things I want to talk about now before we get into the rest of the masterclass here is one, I have many, many other topics to talk about after this, and I'm going to do all the question and answers afterwards. So please put all the question and answers that you have. But what I really want to do is I really want to see some real people that want to be active in real estate, people that really want to make something happen. And, really what we want to do is I want to offer a 30-day boot camp to you guys. And I only want serious people. We have over 1,000 people here on this masterclass. I'm only going to take 10 because I only have time for 10. But, what we're going to offer here is a 30-day boot camp. This is the VIP version here. So you're going to get 2 weekly 1-hour training sessions live with my team. So you're going to have a million questions from this masterclass. You're going to get 2 hours every week with my team. I'll be there as well. And you will get to ask any kind of questions that you want. We're actually have over 36 subjects in 1 month that we're going to go into, because you're not going to get enough information just right here. You're going to have a 1-hour weekly inner circle meeting, which is, with me, other senior specialists, people in different types of business, so we all get together. We talk about what kind of stuff is going on in the market. We do questions and answers, et cetera, et cetera. We also have a 15-minute weekly Facebook Live with me, and this is only for the people in the group. And basically, this is also another way for us to train. We're going to talk about a subject. This is not like just, hey, I'm doing a video. This is active with everybody in on that Facebook group. You'll get access to our private Facebook group. You'll get 2 30-minute one-on-one calls with me and my team. And you can ask us anything you want to ask. We'll tell you how to do anything you want to do. And the bonus here for tonight, there's a couple bonuses, but the bonus for tonight is you will get unlimited WhatsApp access to my senior specialist, my right-hand man, guy that's been with me for 10 years, has 40 years experience. So I'm challenging 10 people, really. I'm only going to take 10. And only do this if you're really serious about investing in real estate and changing your life and making money. I'm challenging 10 people to join this 30-day boot camp. And if you're interested in this boot camp, refresh your browser. There will be links down the bottom, and you can click one for this boot camp. And if you have questions about the boot camp, you can actually get an appointment with my senior specialist. There's another button for that. Please give him 24 hours. There's going to be a lot of people reaching out to him. But he will get back to you too. So let me just be clear here. This 30-day boot camp is 2 1-hour training sessions. We have subjects that are not even on here. We will get into some of the subjects that are in this masterclass in more detail. You'll get an inner circle meeting with me and other like-minded individuals in different businesses, talking about the market and how we do deals, everything that we do.
Recession.
We'll talk about the recession. Recess is on. I always like to say recess is on. It's fun. So, so this is 2-night, $2,500 to join the 30-day boot camp. It's $2,500, and only tonight you can actually pay that in installments. You can pay half tonight and half in 14 days or something like that. So that's the VIP. And the silver one for people, maybe you don't have the $2,500, you can do for $1,500. You will be in on the 2 1-hour weekly training sessions, and you'll have access to the private Facebook group. But again, I only want 10 people. So please, only serious people. I'm going to hold you accountable. I want people that, I'm not doing this for your money. I'm doing this because I want you to be a champion for me. I want you to come back and say, the real estate doctor just made me $100,000 in 6 months. If that's you and you're really ready to make a move in your life, then please refresh your browser, click, and you can do the VIP, or you can talk to a specialist. But please wait. We got more to go here in this masterclass. I got more free information.
We're halfway through the masterclass.
Halfway through.
Only halfway.
Only
We're getting some questions on, we refresh the page. Just for people to know, there's 2 buttons. One button to join now, and that will join them in the VIP. And then the other button is to reach out to our specialist in case they have further questions or whatever, or they want to go for our silver package. So make sure you refresh your browser in order to get that button. Is now live, and we have a count, for only 10 people. And this is not marketing BS. This is not sales strategy BS. This is 10 people only. So make sure you click the button. Join us for the 30-day masterclass, or not masterclass, but boot camp. Everything you need to know on real estate. There's a lot of people saying that if you do private consulting on the groups, on the channels.
Oh, okay. So, yes, we do private consulting. We usually do that for bigger clients. And this same kind of thing that we're offering here is a $50,000, like we'll get for a month, $50,000. So the way we're able to do it for only $2,500 is, we're putting a group of you guys together. And I really want to champion some of you guys. I know how I got in this business, and, I want to help you be a star, really. So let me get back on, because I know you guys want some content. So please click and join. But otherwise, let's get back here. Buying properties off market and below market value, how you find them. So first off, you make money. I'm going to say this all the time. You make money when you buy a property. So you don't make money when you sell a property. Of course, that's when you cash out. But, the extra time that you spend negotiating a deal is where you make all your money. If you can get a house that, you were willing to buy it for $100,000 and you push somebody to sell it to you for $85,000, that's $15,000 that you made in 5 minutes, in 5 or 10 minutes. You might not cash out on that house today, but you made that money. And when you do cash out or refi or whatever with that house, you will get that money. So it's very important that you negotiate the best price, and that's where you focus your time and energy. So how do you find deals? I kind of already touched on this. I find deals every possible way that there is. So one is, you can buy them from wholesalers. So you can be a wholesaler, or you can buy from a wholesaler. Wholesalers are not hard to find. Basically, they're usually in Facebook groups or online Craigslist, or, if you go to real estate meetings, you'll find people that always have deals, and you just tell them what you're looking for. And I promise you will get more deals thrown at you. That doesn't mean they're a deal. Let me be careful. They will give you opportunities to buy houses, and you have to decide whether they are good deals or not. But, you can buy from wholesalers. You can buy on the MLS, which is the multiple listing service, which is, just going online and looking for a deal. Now, some people say that you can't find deals on the MLS. I will tell you that we are now getting into a time during the recession where you can find deals on the MLS. People are lowering their prices, and they will continue to lower their prices. And once you see that they've lowered a couple times, just lowball them. You can make a mass offer to, sometimes, I'll make offers a sight unseen to like 50 houses. It's super low, 50% of whatever they're listed for. And now, most people are not going to come back at you and say yes, but the ones that do, they're deals. Then you go investigate the deal and see, you're going to make a non-binding offer when you do that. And I'll explain how to do that, but what you would do is you would make an offer that is contingent upon you inspecting the property. And, you're just trying to throw out there and see who is willing to negotiate. Then when you see who's willing to negotiate, if somebody's willing to say, yeah, I'm interested to sign this non-binding offer for 50% of what I'm listing it for, you go to the house and you then ask for better money anyway. Even if you walk in the house and you're like, oh my God, this is a great deal. So you never just go, oh, okay, this is a great price. You're going to negotiate it even more. You're going to negotiate it down as far as you can, because that's how you make money. So you can, especially now, make money finding deals on the MLS. There's also other methods. There's expired listings. There's all kinds of methods with the MLS that you can use to find deals. you can find deals just from word of mouth. You can go to real estate meetings, and not just wholesalers, but other investors. Sometimes I've bought packages of properties from other investors, like, a lot of times you get a guy that's, 60 years old. He has a 40, 50 or 200 package of houses, and he's looking to sell them. And this is the time in his life where it's time to cash out. And you can get those deals like that. You can also get deals plenty of other ways. Like I said, with the wholesaling, you can also get deals when people basically go. Wholesalers do this, but you can go door to door in a neighborhood and just start asking people, hey, somebody that's selling, anybody that's interested. You can do stuff like you can work with estate attorneys. Estate attorneys work with people that have passed away and their property is now is inherited. And then somebody that has inherited a property is, usually they don't even know what the property is. But they probably didn't even know, unless they grew up in the house, which you'd be surprised. A lot of times it's not the case. But estate attorneys are great because, they have people that really don't have an attachment to the house anymore. They inherited it. They just want the cash. So there's plenty of different methods. There's probably like 10 methods that I can give you that you can find deals. But what I would tell you is don't be like stuck on one deal. Off-market deals is another thing everybody always talks about. Like, hey, I want a deal that's off-market. Listen, a deal off-market is great, but it doesn't mean that if the deal is now when you say on the market, off the market, on the market usually means it's listed with the MLS. Off the market means it's not. So you think it's a deal. Well, sometimes the off the market deals are better priced than the MLS, and sometimes they're not. So an off market deal, how would you find an off market deal? There's plenty of different companies that, and people that sell houses off market, wholesalers. Again, like I said, you can be a wholesaler, but wholesalers are always selling off market. There's a lot of realtors that have their listings and don't put them on the market, or they put them initially off the market. They call them pocket listings. So I guess
six people subscribe to the boot camp.
That's great. Thank you guys for the first 6 for the boot camp. There's only 4 left then. If I do my math, is my accounting still good? But thank you guys. I'm really looking forward to working with you. So let's make that happen, man. Let's make that happen. I hope to make somebody $100,000 in the next 6 months and bring you back here so you can talk to everybody. So
ask them to refresh the site so you can see the 2 buttons. By the way, the buttons, the colors of the buttons, so they recognize them. They go down a little bit in their browser, and the buttons are green and orange.
All right.
Green and orange buttons. One to join, one in case they want to talk to a specialist.
Green and orange buttons for those of you that didn't hear Alex for how you can join the VIP or talk to a specialist. The next thing I want to talk about, how to buy houses, cash versus finance. So obviously you can buy houses with cash. And if you want a good deal, even if you're not going to be cash, you should present yourself as cash. Even, and like I said earlier, if I'll reiterate it here, is, even if you don't have the cash or the hard money financing or the private financing, you want to go in and say, hey, I'm a cash buyer. You're going to get the best deal. At least get the thing under contract. And then a good deal, you will always find money for. You got to have a little confidence. The only thing you can lose is your deposit. So have a little confidence in yourself that you found a good deal. Pull the trigger, get that thing under contract, and the money will come to a deal. This is very important. If you have a great deal, don't worry about where you're going to get the money. The money, call a real estate doctor. I might want the deal. Somebody in your market, if that's a great deal, we'll buy that contract from you. We'll want to partner with you. We'll finance the deal for you. Do not be afraid to put it under contract. The only real loss you can have is your deposit. That's the only real loss. And try to keep those deposits to a minimum. So that's one way to do it. The other way is you can finance through a bank. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that either. But when you do that, you're not going to get the absolute best deal. However, it's easier to finance with a bank. You don't have to come up with, all the cash, and you don't have to run around and try to find a private financing guy. And if you're going to buy with a bank or any kind of conventional lender, what you should do is you should go and get pre-qualified. And you should really understand, the metrics at which they're going to give you. They're going to give you a loan, 20%. You're going to have to put 20% down. These are the fees. Now, if you've never bought a property before, you can get an FHA loan where you only have to put 3% down if it's a house that you're going to live in. And then, sometimes you're going to say, well, it's not a house that I'm going to live in, but, maybe you are going to live in it for a little bit. But there is also 3%, FHA home buyer products. There's plenty of different products. You can buy it with 80% financing and put a second on it and still make it a second, make it 100% deal. So that being said, conventional financing, most people know about it, but do not start shopping around, and always put a mortgage contingency. So in your contract, if you're going to buy contingent on a mortgage, make sure in the contract you put that this offer is contingent on you getting a mortgage, because if you don't get the mortgage and you didn't put that in there, then you would lose your deposit. You really have nothing to lose if you put in there contingent on a mortgage contingency. Now, here's another way to put something under contract and really have no risk at loss. It just popped up in my head. You put a clause in the contract that says the contract, and you put it at the end, real small. It's subject to partner's approval. Well, first off, even if you don't have a partner, just write subject to partner's approval. So, you put it under contract, then you decide usually most people are not going to question this, to believe it or not. You don't even have to put a time period. But anyway, you decide you don't want to do the deal in 10 days. You go, hey, my partner didn't approve the deal. And you don't lose a deposit. You don't lose anything. The way your contracts, and we can help you with your contracts too. You can get, they're called out clauses. You can put many out clauses in a contract where basically you have a no risk offer. And, savvy sellers will know, like if you brought me an offer, and one of the things I always say when I get an offer from somebody, from my realtor, and the guy says, hey, you got an offer on such and such house. First thing I say is, did they go to the house? If they didn't go to the house, I don't want to take the offer, because I know, I'm going to take the offer. They're going to go to the house. Then they're going to say that they saw something and they want to lower it. This is the game that I would play with somebody. So you can play that game in reverse. You can make these offers contingent on partner approval, contingent on, inspection, anything, so that you have an out of that contract. So again, I'm just getting back to put the house under contract. These contracts are assets. They are assets. It's a piece of paper that you can sell for more money. So don't be afraid to put something under contract. You will find the money for that deal, or somebody will pay you for that deal. The other thing here I have is how to cash out. So if you bought the property cash, there's methods to, first off, I think it might be quite obvious to you. If you bought it cash, you don't want to just keep the cash there. Some people do. First off, that's risky. So let's say you bought a house, you got a really good deal. It's worth $400,000, and you put you got it for $250,000, and you wrote a check or wired money for $250,000. Well, that's a great deal. So that was worth using your cash. Well, one, you don't want to leave your cash in that deal, because you want to use that money for other deals. But let's say for some reason you have so much money, you just don't want it in the banks because the banks are crazy right now. You want to leave it there. Take this word of advice, very important. You want to put a mortgage on the property to yourself in a different company. I'll get into this in more details. I don't want to get tied down to it. But if you own a property cash and there's no mortgage on it, it's public record that you own that property and there's no mortgage. So if anybody decides they want to sue you, there's a trip and fall, or everybody says, wow, look, he owns a house and there's no mortgage, and they can easily go and see how much the house is worth. So it's very important that you put a mortgage on the property if you want to keep it in cash, even to yourself. Reach out to us. It wouldn't be to your name, but to another company of yours. So then when somebody looks at the house, they see 123 Main Street that you bought it, but there's a mortgage on it for X, Y, and Z. And then it's not as appealing for somebody to go after it. Also, when you do that, you can benefit from cash out refis. So one of the things you could do with a cash out refi. So let's say you bought the house for 250, you go to the bank immediately and you say, I want my money back. Well, a conventional bank is not going to give you the whole $250,000 you put into the deal back, even if it's worth $400,000, because they're going to say, well, you bought it for 250. We want you to have 20% in the deal, and they're going to make you keep some of that money in the deal. So by putting a mortgage on to another company, and usually for that amount or more, you can change the cash out refi to what's called a rate and term refi. You're basically getting a better rate and a different term from yourself, and you will be able to get all your money back out of the deal. This is an advanced technique. I'm not going to get into it too much here, but this is something, I just want to, because we're on this subject, how to cash out of a deal. Very important, to make your deal a rate and term refinance. The other way you can do it is if you wait 6 months. With most banks, they will allow you to then get a new appraisal, and they will appraise it on the market value, not what you bought it for. What you don't want the bank to do is go, hey, you bought a good deal, but we don't care. You bought it for $250, and we're going to finance 80% of $250. You want them to go, hey, you bought a good deal. It's $400,000. I'm going to give you 80% of $400,000, which is $320,000. And if you put $250 in, and they give you 80% of $400, which is $320, that means that you put $250 in, and you walk away with $320. Now, you would have to find a really, really good deal for that to happen, but that does happen. You can do that. And even if that didn't happen, I'm sure you can find a deal where you at least get your money back, or a little bit more than the money that you put in there. And even if you have to leave a little in there, you don't want to leave 20% of the $250. You want to leave $5,000, $10,000. So these are very advanced strategies that I just want to touch on a little bit. It's very important, how to get your money out of these deals once you put them in there. Because, one of the things that is not great about real estate is it's illiquid. So once you put your money in there, it takes time to get the money out. It's not like you can just put a sell order and get your cash back. Now, it's one of the reasons why we make money in real estate, because it's inefficient. But one of the negatives is you got to know how to work the finance game to get your money out of those deals. All right, next subject here, the BRRRR strategy. So like I said, on the BRRRR strategy, excuse me for a minute. The BRRRR strategy, some people on social are talking about this, nonstop, the BRRRR method, which is buy, I always forget one of these R's, buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. Let me see if I can do that again. Buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. Okay, so the one video that I did that got 4 million views was on this subject of, hey, if you take $100,000, and how can you take $100,000 and just continually reinvest it, right? Now, I got a couple pushbacks on that. First off, people said you can't buy $100,000 houses. This is totally untrue. You can buy $100,000 houses all over the United States, and I'm not just talking about the worst parts of the United States. If you're buying in New York, you can't buy a $100,000 house. But if you're buying in Cleveland, or you're buying in St. Louis, or in many, many, many cities, you can buy $100,000 houses. This masterclass is not about how to buy $100,000 houses. I could care less whether you buy a $100,000 house or $1 million house. The concept works all the same. So the concept is that what you're trying to avoid here is leaving money 20%. Generally, when you buy an investment property, it's not like the home you live in. They're not going to give you high leverage mortgage. So they're not going to give you 95% loan. They're not going to give you 3% down. They're going to want you to put 20, 25%, 30% down. Most of the time, 20%. So I'm going to use the $100,000 number because it's easy here. So in the BRRRR method, if you had $100,000, right? And now I'm going to exclude, there are closing costs and lender costs. So let me exclude these just for the sake of the math. If you had $100,000 and you needed to put $20,000 down on 5 properties that are $100,000, after you bought 5 properties, you would be done investing. So you saved up $100,000 to invest. You now bought 5 properties, and congratulations, go make more money. You're done investing. So the BRRRR method says, no. We can make that $100,000 either go further, or we can make that $100,000 go to infinity. It all depends on how well you buy the house. So in the BRRRR method, what you would try to do is you try to buy this $100,000 house, but you want the house to be worth a little bit more than $100,000. Like, why? First off, if you're on this masterclass and you are looking to buy a house that's worth $100,000 for $100,000, just click off, because it's not what we do. This is how there's no sense in that. You don't need anybody here to teach you. The real estate doctor doesn't need to teach you anything. That's just not smart. So you want to buy a $100,000 house that's worth $150,000 or $120,000. So let's say you buy a house. I'm going to use this just for example purposes. And I can tell you this works all the time. You buy a house, you put it under contract, it's worth $100,000. Now, this is the conventional method. It's you put it under contract for $100,000, but it's worth $150,000. Well, the bank is going to say, I don't care that it's worth $150,000. You're going to have to put 20% down of the 100, because that's what you're buying for, and that's when you put the 20% down and you lose your $20,000. Well, under the BRRRR method, what you're going to do is you're going to buy that house cash, right? So you're going to buy it, and usually you're going to buy it and renovate it. But let's say it was even done. It works for houses that are finished. You're going to buy the house for $100,000. You're going to wait 6 months. Now, there's some strategy to this. You have to show that you made some improvements, but let's say you bought it for $100,000 and it was pretty much done. You go to the bank in 6 months, and the bank, after 6 months, will now appraise the property at whatever the market value is. They don't care what you bought it for now. In the first 6 months, they care. And if you go to buy it conventionally for $100,000, they care too. So you're going to buy it cash, or when I say cash, you can use private financing. You can do anything. You line of credit, you got from your house, and you buy it cash. You buy it cash. At the end of the 6 months, it appraises for $150,000. The bank says, okay, good. I'm going to give you 80% of the $150,000 or $120,000. And now you put up 100 and the bank gives you back 120. So in that instance, you would walk away with $20,000. There's obviously costs involved. I'm not saying there's not. I just don't want to get into the minutia of it, But let's say you even just got your 100,000 back, right? If you got your 100,000 back, you still have your principal. You can go do it again and again and again, and you continually can buy till infinity. Now, most of the time, you're going to hit a couple where you get a little extra money. You're going to hit a couple where you have to put a little money, but you're never going to have to put the 20% down by using this method. So this is a way you can take a certain amount of capital. It could be 100,000, a million, 2 million, and you can just buy till infinity. First off, this is the only way people that want to amass large portfolios, really that don't have unlimited capital or resources to go to the bank. This is how you should be using, you should be leveraging your money. You worked hard for that money. You worked hard to save that money, et cetera, et cetera. You got to leverage it. So that is, in a nutshell, the BRRRR method. I think I guess you could say the disadvantage to that is that you're taking that lump sum of money that you have in the beginning and putting it into the house, as opposed to, buying a piece at a time, 20% down.
Quick thing here. We have a little over 1,500 people connected to the masterclass in all the platforms we're streaming to right now. So,
all right, 1,500, we're up. So thank you guys for hanging in. I know I can see here we're a little bit over an hour, but let me get back to the disadvantage. So the disadvantage is you're going to have to put that capital in there and leave it there for 6 months. The advantage is you're going to get it back and you can roll it. So this is the BRRRR strategy. This is what, some people have basically Instagram accounts just talking about this BRRRR method. And, it's really a fantastic method. And even this is where you want to, you can do a couple things. You can use the BRRRR method to cash out money, and you can use the BRRRR method to just build equity and build your net worth over time. So it's a great method. I don't want to say everybody, you'd be surprised. Not everybody knows about it. I'm surprised that more people don't talk about it, but this has been a method that's super powerful. And it's a little bit more advanced, but once you get the hang of it, you just do it over and over again. Repeat. Hey, repeat. All right.
Talking about social media.
Yes, sir.
I know you have thoughts about social media, especially considering the fact that you were never in social and you've been only on social for 4 months with 44,000 followers, and then we know the videos have gone very viral on Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere. But why don't we cover something that you and I were talking about on the podcast? You know, the BS of social media and a lot of the people that talk about real estate on social.
Yeah. Okay. So when I, first off, as you guys know, I wasn't in social, until 4 months ago. And now I really appreciate all the followers. And I love the fact that people are sharing the videos and they're getting a lot of content here. But when I got into social, I investigated other people and I said, hey, what are other people that are like me doing? And man, I can't believe, some of these videos, like with Lamborghinis and Rolexes and going to sneaker stores. It has nothing to do with real estate. And first off, if you're a real estate investor, and I know that, if you follow me, a video about, I'd rather buy a house than a Rolex, it's true. Why would you buy a Lamborghini? Like and there's I can't even pronounce it, Bugatti or something. This I don't understand. I do not.
$1 million, dude.
How many?
1 million.
Yeah, $1 million for a car that you probably can't drive around in most of the streets in America. You know what you could do with $1 million in real estate? $1 million in real estate can make you $3 million in a year, in 2 years, for sure. So what's $1 million car going to be worth? Even that kind of car, I can't imagine is going to triple, and most cars depreciate. So if you're going to make money, please, I implore you, if you're going to make money by the methods that I'm going to teach you here, and listen, it is somewhat dangerous. I will tell you, some of these methods, you can buy houses and walk away with money. So some, I remember when I was in my 20s, man, I'd buy a house and, walk away with $150,000. And when you're in your 20s, you're like, whoa, $150,000. So, and maybe I go buy a car. Maybe I buy this. Maybe I do this. You cannot. That's what's dangerous. When you do that, when you overfinance a property or walk away with cash from the deal in the beginning, you need that money to be invested in another asset that is also making you money, because you eventually will have to pay that back, or maybe you don't have to pay it back because you'll sell the property for more money down the line. But ultimately, you want to reinvest this money. If you want to not work, if you want to relax in life, there's a good book, if anybody hasn't read, it's called Life in Air. Not like Millionaire, but Life in Air. If you want to enjoy your life, first you have to put your life out there first. Like, what do I like about life? Some people like, oh man, I was on a boat one time with my buddy and it was such a great time. Now I want a boat. Well, you know what? What do you want a boat for? It just goes down in value. You can rent a boat anytime that you want. I live in the Caribbean now. You know how many times I thought about buying a boat? And then I'm like, I can't buy a boat. And you know what? You would think if you live in the Caribbean, you're on a boat all the time. I'll tell you what, we go to the beach once a month. You're never on that boat. And if you bought that boat, now it's something you got to take care of. It goes down in value. When you need the money in a recession, nobody's buying a boat. So please, I implore you, don't buy a Lamborghini. Don't buy a Rolex. Don't buy those things. You can do it when you're set. Don't do it now. So the methods I'm going to teach you on how to make money are dangerous. You are going to get money. You are going to put money in your pocket. But the key is reinvest it in other assets that are making you income. So one of the things that drove me crazy was when I'm looking at people, and I know that this catches people's attention, and maybe it's not such a sexy thing that I'm talking about here for you not to do those things. And if I was sitting here saying, yeah, man, I just sold a house and I bought a Lamborghini, maybe that's more attractive to you, but I think it's just downright stupid. Unless you're later on and you've done a bunch of deals, you have more than enough passive income to pay for your life, then yeah, you can buy whatever you want. But if you're building, you're just making it slow. if you take that money and don't reinvest it, you know, the compound interest that you get reinvesting the money that you're getting, the cash you're getting, you'll be done, man. You'll be done working sooner than later. So please, that's number one thing that I didn't particularly like about people on social. The other thing is, you know, they're not really given real information or content. And I can tell because I'm in the business that they're not really doing deals, and they're almost like taking someone else's information and repurposing it and putting on a show. I'm telling you, you know, if you're one of the 6, I don't know how many people have now signed up for this, you know, but one of the people that work, I guarantee you will make more money in the next 30 days than you did before you met the real estate doctor. I guarantee that. And if you work with me, I really want you to commit that you are not going to go buy a Rolex and a Lamborghini. You're going to reinvest it and roll it, and you're going to change your life. You're going to create passive income. You're going to create other income that, you know, you don't have to be on your 9-to-5 grind that you are in now. So thank you, Alex, for that. It's just a little pet peeve I have about the social stuff. But all right, next subject here is buying a property. I probably have talked about it a bunch of times. I didn't think I would, but how do you find a good deal? First off, a good deal, you have to know what the value of houses are. And some people, that's scary in the beginning because, you know, and maybe it's a different market. Maybe the market's changing. You know, what I would tell you is don't count on Zillow. You know, if you really want to get a value of a house, you could always pay for an appraisal. You know, when I go in a new market, a market that I'm not working, you know, because the methods that I use work in every market. So I have, you know, I started in one market and then I went to another market, and then, you know, I go because markets mature, they get too hot. And I move around in markets because, you know, I'm going to where the best advantageous deals are. And when you go into another market, the same stuff that I use in the other market works in the new market, you know? So especially when I go in a new market, I pay for appraisals for almost, and I don't pay for full appraisals, but like I pay for what's called a subject to appraisal or a desktop appraisal. And I call an appraiser and I say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to buy this amount of deals. And, you know, look, I'm not from the market. I don't know the market. I want to really know what the value is. I don't want you to say the highest number. I want you to give me the real value in the house. And I pay a third-party appraiser to appraise the houses so I feel comfortable that what I'm buying what the value is. So you can't find a good deal if you don't know what the after repair value or the value of the house is in a particular market. So if you're going in a new market, I would implore you, you know, definitely, you know, use an appraiser to give you some sense of what the value is. Now, when you've been in a market for years, in the markets that I work, I don't need that. I'm buying and selling. I'm trading. It's, you know, it's not like buying and selling. It's like trading. I'm trading houses all the time. And I know what the value is because I'm selling them all the time. I don't need to ask an appraiser. But when you go in a new market, it's very important. You cannot know what a good deal is if you do not know what the after repair value is. So once you know what the after repair value is, then you back into what a good deal is. So, you know, everybody, you're going to have to come up with a strategy. And that's kind of, I'm going to help you guys with the strategy. You know, if your strategy is, for instance, you like to own a house with 30% equity, you know, you might go, okay, the after repair value is $1 million. Take off 30%. That's $700,000. Then if the house needs repairs, have somebody estimate it. Usually I would get 3 estimates, especially in a new market. The house needs $100,000 in repairs. Take that $100,000 off. So the most you could possibly pay for that house is $600,000. So now you're making offers $600,000 and down, and you know the most you'll pay is $600,000 because if you buy for $600, put $100 into it, you're into it for $700. You know it's worth $1 million. So that's if your strategy is you will only buy with 30% equity. Now, some people think I know people that only buy with 40% equity or 50% equity. And I know some people that buy with 20% equity. You know, you need to have your own strategy. And some people will think, well, yeah, of course I would love to buy houses with only 40% equity, but I can't find them. You're just not looking hard enough. And especially in this market now, we are in a recession, and I'm telling you, you can get those deals right now. So you have to have that strategy, and you have to know the after repair value, and you also have to know what the renovations needed are. Excuse me, talking too much. Okay, so that's how you find a good deal is you got to know what to offer. And then after you know what you can offer, again, all the methods I told you about how to find deals, you can find them on the MLS. If you're going to work on the MLS, you need a realtor. And realtors are, some people think, hey, I'm a real estate investor. I don't like realtors. This is not true. I love realtors for many, many reasons. First off, if you're working with a realtor to find realtor, real estate agent, broker, whoever, all different things. I want to work with a realtor or real estate agent that works with investors. I don't want to work with one that doesn't. I want to have a conversation with them, and you're going to have to interview them. When I go into different markets, it takes me time to find the right one. I tell them, hey, I want to buy this amount of houses. This is the kind of house I want to buy. This is the kind of neighborhoods I want to buy, and I want to work with a realtor that knows investors. And I want a realtor that's not going to be embarrassed by the offers that I make. I can't tell you how much I get annoyed when I tell a realtor, hey, I'm going to make 50 offers this month. And, I want them all to be crazy numbers. And they go, oh man, I don't want to do this paperwork and this. Listen, I'm going to buy a lot of houses, so you got to find the right realtor to work with. Obviously, you're not going to start buying 50 houses, but you say, hey, I have a strategy. This is my strategy. I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm going to buy houses. And you want to work with a realtor that is an investor, because they also know you're going to learn from that realtor. That realtor is also doing deals with other investors, and you can pull information from them. Like, hey, what are other people buying? What neighborhoods are they flipping houses, et cetera, et cetera. There's so much stuff you can learn from a good realtor that deals with investors. So, you can find them, from a realtor, you can find them wholesalers, but the key is you got to really understand the after repair value and the construction so that you can back into a real good number. Then how are you going to contract it? If you do use a realtor, they're going to use their contracts. But we have a contract in our toolkit, and we modify the contract for different states. Every state has different rules, but you want an investor-friendly contract that gives you the out, like I talked about earlier in here, gives you the ability to get out of the contract, so you can make an offer and it's contingent on partner's approval, or it's contingent on an inspection, or, it's contingent if the sun rises over Japan at 2 a.m. I don't know, making something up. So you can put anything in that contract. You'd be surprised. A lot of people do not read the fine print of the contract, but you need to understand contracts. And I would implore you, don't go making offers on big, long contracts unless you understand them. I particularly don't like the standard real estate contracts that most realtors give you. But, like my contract is no more than 2 pages ever. And a lot of times 1 page. And if you're going to buy from a homeowner, you try to get a homeowner to sign on you got a great deal from the homeowner. You beat them up on the price. And then you go, all right, here, just sign this 12 pages or 20 pages. It's impossible. You need to have a 1-page contract that says, boom, buying a house for X, putting this deposit down. This is the title company. This is when it's going to close. Put in your little ways out and have them sign it. You need that kind of contract if you want to get really good deals, because otherwise you're going to intimidate people. And some people are going to say, oh, I want to have a lawyer look at it. I want my Aunt Sally to look at it. It's very important. So contracts are very important. Contracts are very important in every facet of real estate, including the renovation. Your renovation contracts are super important. I don't want to get too much into the details, minutia here, but when you work with a contractor, remember, anybody can find a good deal to flip. Any rehabber can kill the deal by going over budget, taking your money and running. Do not give them all the money up front. Try to give them the least amount of money as possible. Let them work, and then give them money at the end, like as they're progressing after they did the work. You don't want them to be ahead of you and the money, because what happens is, when they're ahead, they might go to another job. They might just walk away from the job. I mean, everybody in real estate has paid somebody, a contractor, and they have not done the work, or they've gone over budget, or they've gotten behind. So it's very important how you work with them. So back to another thing I always say here is how you make money is when you buy, it's not when you sell. So if you're doing this method that I just gave you, where you're going to put 30, you want to have 30% equity in the deal. And in that particular example, you want anything under 600,000 is a good deal. Make offer at 300,000, and I know that sounds crazy, but you need to be embarrassed by that offer. And yeah, maybe the guy doesn't take, 300,000. I had an old partner that he was great with, he had a method on the phone. He would be like, the guy would say, hey, I've been to the house, it needs a little bit of repairs. And first off, the person that talks first always loses. I'm sure many of you know that. So, how much would you like for the house? And, he had a script. It was hilarious. And, how much would you like for that house? And somebody would say, 400,000. He'd be like, oh. And he would get quiet and make like a groan. And then it would literally say in the script, do not talk. And then you don't talk. That person's going to be like, oh, why? Maybe we're a little bit negotiable. We'll take 380. And they'll go 20,000 without you talking. I'm not kidding. So then, 380. I don't know. I don't think I can do 380 or something. You just be quiet again, and then when they'll give you a new number, 370. And then the third time he would go, and then you would go, is that the best you can do? And I know this sounds cheesy. I can tell you I've done this probably 4,000 times myself on the phone. It works. It gets the price down 3 times. If not 3, it gets it down 2. And this is where you make your money, in negotiating the price. Because if you were happy to buy it for 600,000, but you got it for 550, you just made 50,000 more on that deal. It's super duper important. So again, make sure you're embarrassed by your offer, and make sure you make those, low offers, and find yourself a good deal. Okay, how to finance a deal, how to do a deal with no money. So everybody wants to know how to do this. I've alluded to. You want me? Here we go. All right. So how do you do a deal with no money? First off, you got to find a good deal. You can't do a deal with no money unless you find a good deal. When I say a good deal, you need to find, generally speaking, you want to find, the easiest thing is to find private lenders. Private lenders that will loan, and you got to find out what they'll loan. They'll loan 80% of the after repair value, or they'll loan 70% of the after repair value. So you got to find private lenders. There's private lenders in every single market in the United States. There's private lenders that do the whole entire United States. There's private lenders that's in your neighborhood. Your neighbor is a private lender. Your neighbor's a private lender that didn't even know he was a private lender until you bring him a good deal. So what you do is you find out what they're looking for. So let's use the example of 70%. They will give you a 70% loan to value, which means if the house is worth $1 million, they will give you a $700,000 loan, right? Now, all you got to do is find a deal that is worth $1 million and is worth less than $700,000, or not worth, that you can buy for less than $700,000. Now, some of you are going to say, well, where are those deals? Those deals are everywhere. And those deals, if you think they were hard to find, they are going to become easier to find every day for the rest of this year. There is going to be less and less buyers, and there's going to be more chaos in the economy and recession, et cetera, et cetera. So, if you know this guy's going to give you $700,000, you're just going and what the value of these houses are. It's very important. If you don't know your market, you should get an appraiser to give you those values. And then boom, you get a house under contract for 600. The guy's going to loan you 700. You walk away with $100,000 on that deal. Now, that's if you're in $1 million market. Now, you cannot do that if you can't rent the house out and cash flow. So, for instance, let's say, you get a loan for $700,000, you're going to rent it. And after the loan payment and property taxes and maintenance and vacancy and this, that, and the other thing, you're going to be negative. Well, you can't do that deal. So the caveat is you got to find a good deal that cash flows when you do finance it like that. And I'm telling you, they're out there. So, how you do a deal with no money is you find a private lender and figure out what they're going to loan you. And then you go find deals and get them into that particular category. The other way you can do no money down deals, I mean, there's millions of ways, but maybe not millions. But if you got a good deal, when I started, I didn't have capital, so I was just good at finding a deal. So I would find a deal, and I would just partner with somebody that would put up the money. And now I'm in the deal. Now I might not be 100% in the deal. I might be 50% in the deal, but I'm 50% in the deal, and I put no money up. So you're in the deal with no money. So I'm going to tell you this many, many times. If you find a good deal, you will get the money. The money will come to you. So if you find a good deal, somebody is going to give you that money. I mean, reach out to us. You find a good deal, reach out to us. I don't even know what market you're in. I'm sure I'm interested in that deal. So there are people, I'm telling you, that will partner with you, put up all the money. There are private lenders that will give you money that, once you fit into that category, you can walk away with money. There are hard money lenders that will do that. There are banks that you can finance deals. Like I told you, in the BRRRR method, you can use a regular bank. You need money in the beginning. But if you do the model right, you will get all your money back and maybe some more. And now you're in the deal, no money. So there's many, many, many methods of buying property with no money. People think, real estate is this business where you need a ton of money to buy a property. You need a ton of money to get involved. I've showed you methods here today where, you can, wholesale deals with no money. You can put houses under contract. You can go and buy properties and overfinance them and get into the deal, no money. I mean, I'm going to tell you, every day I buy a house, every day. And I'm putting no money down on the house with private lenders. Like today I did one, $20,000 walk away, $20,000, so you can do it. It's just a matter of figuring out who those lenders are, and we can help you with that. I can help you find those people. I might lend. I might know people that lend you. This is just something you have to do in this business. You want to put the least amount of capital in the deal, even when you have it, or put the capital in and get it back. So super, super important that you are learning how to do deals with no money or putting up the money and getting the money back. So where are we at here? 145. All right. So we're going to do question and answers after in about 5 minutes, but we're going back to, I don't know how many people we had that have signed up. I know we already had 6 that had signed up for the VIP. So again, the 30-day boot camp for $2,500, you're going to get with us 2 1-hour weekly training sessions live. You're going to get 1 weekly inner circle meeting with us and a group of like-minded individuals and different businesses and real estate business. We're going to talk about deals. We're going to talk about things that are going on in real estate. You're going to get the 15-minute weekly Facebook Live with the group where we're going to talk, take questions. We're going to tell you about different topics. We have over 36 topics in 1 month that we want to talk to you about in real estate and teach you. We're going to give you access to the private Facebook group. You're going to get 2 30-minute one-on-one calls. And just today, just tonight, only, you'll be able to WhatsApp my senior specialist any questions you have, unlimited for 1 month. So, I mean, I can't imagine. Look, first off, this is $50,000 if I give this to, on a regular basis. I'm offering this for $2,500. And just also tonight, you can actually pay half today and half in 2 weeks. But I implore you, I guarantee you, $2,500 is nothing. You will make that back tenfold if you come and you're ready and you're will. I only want people that are ready to dedicate themselves to changing their life, investing in themselves, and making money now in a recession. when people are scared, don't be scared now. This is when we got to make the money. So, please, if you're going to sign up, I think we only had 4 more after the last one. We're only going to take 10, but I want 10 serious individuals. Again, there's links at the bottom of your page where you can sign up or talk to one of my specialists. And if you don't want to do the VIP or you can't afford that VIP, you can't not afford the VIP. I got to tell you though, really, because this is money you're investing in yourself. If you took value from some of the stuff I talked about tonight, this is just 2 hours. Can you imagine what we could talk about one-on-one in a small group setting? And I can really formulate, strategize specifically for you on how you're going to do things in your market and how to find private investors and how to do deals with no money, but you specifically. This is what I really want to see. I want to see some stars come out of tonight. But there is the silver, that's $1,500 that you also get the 2 weekly 1-hour training sessions, and you're in the private Facebook group. But again, please, we have one time only tonight. You get full access to my senior specialist. I don't even think he knows. He's going to be like, oh my God, you can text him unlimited questions. That's priceless in itself, So that, let's see here. Some of the topics on this boot camp are going to include, I'm going to talk about how to wholesale a little bit, obviously in more detail, how to do no money down deals in detail, how to find private lenders in detail, how to JV to find deals. So how to joint venture to find deals, how to JV to sell deals, how to JV for capital or money, how to do the Burr method. All these topics I just spoke about just briefly, I'm going to talk about in more detail with you specifically. And we have 30 other topics. So let's see here. These are the two ones that you can join, the subscriptions here, the VIP and the silver. I implore you, please. I'd love to work with some really serious people. The sky's the limit. We don't know. I've met so many people in real estate that I've become partners with that have grown and started their own businesses in real estate. And now we're doing tons of deals. That could be you. So please check us out. And now we're going to open up for questions and answers while we do this. This is probably my favorite part. So Alex, do we have any questions?
Yeah. So first of all, remind people that in order to sign up, they need to scroll down, in their browser a little bit, and they're going to see 2 buttons. One button is to join right away. We still have 2 available spots.
Okay.
We have 2 available spots. So all you need to do is scroll down a little bit in your browser. You'll see 2 buttons. One button to join now, one button to talk to our specialist. So in order to get a little more information, and in case you don't want to go for the VIP, you can talk to a specialist. So we have 2 spots left. And obviously remind the people that there's 2 bonuses that will only happen tonight, till the end of this masterclass or this live. And that is, number 1, they'll get free access to WhatsApping with our team 24/7. They can send as many questions as they want throughout the whole boot camp, which is 30 days. And aside from that, they're going to get the opportunity to pay in installments, so they can basically pay half of it now, and then in a few weeks you'll pay the rest. Invest in yourself. And now we go into questions and answers. So Q&A,
my favorite part.
Yeah. So is there any maximum numbers of mortgages I can get for rental properties?
Is there any maximum mortgages that you can get for rental property? So this is a good question. So conventional mortgages, you can usually get, according to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are the government-backed loans, you can get 10 per person. So back in the day, what I would do is, I would get 10 in my name and 10 in my wife's name. You don't want to get them joint so you can get 20. Or I would get 10 in my name and 10 in my partner's name and 10 in his wife's name. So you can do that conventionally up to 10 Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loans. Then you can get more. You can get more after that. You can, first off, private lenders. You can get unlimited. One of the things I also want to mention about private lenders usually charge higher interest rates, and they charge more points, which is like a fee when you close on a deal. But private lenders are easier to close a deal. They're not going to ask for everything, they're not going to ask for your DNA, your credit score, your everything, that a conventional lender. So for ease of doing a transaction, even though it costs more, again, one of the things I always say is it's not the cost of capital, it's the access to the capital. So if you don't have access to the capital, you can't play the game. So a lot of times, for me, I use private lenders all the time. I can't wait for a bank. I don't want to deal with the paperwork at a bank. Now, once you use a private lender, you can use private lender and, let's say you buy 50 houses. Then you can go to a regular bank and say, hey, I got 50 houses. Will you give me a package, a blanket loan on that? And they would love to do that. But they want to see that you have experience so you can build up all your loans through private loans and then refinance them into better rates with a bank and a blanket loan. But generally speaking, after 10, it gets harder with conventional banks and you end up into commercial rates. And that's just what's going to happen. When you get, over 10 houses, you're going to have to start getting into commercial rates, a little bit higher rates, even with conventional banks. But generally speaking, there's always a way to buy another house.
All right. Next question. Do I have to use an LLC to buy investment properties?
Okay. Do you have to use an LLC to buy investment property? No, you don't have to. There's advantages and disadvantages. The LLC will protect you personally. If there's a trip and fall or anything related to that, they're going to sue the LLC and they can't sue you personally. Once you use an LLC, even if you don't have those 10 mortgages, you're going to be in the commercial rates with banks anyway. They're usually harder to finance LLCs, meaning you're going to have to pay a higher interest rate and higher fee with conventional banks. So that's like one of the negatives. If you buy it in your personal name, you're going to get a better rate and you can use those Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. But some people are worried about the liability when you buy in your personal name, especially if you're buying just a few properties. You can get a personal umbrella policy, a liability policy, and it can cover you for that. You don't necessarily have to buy an LLC. The other thing people do with LLCs is sometimes they buy an LLC and then they put 10 free and clear properties in one LLC. That's not a good idea either. And then sometimes they do the opposite. They buy 10 properties and they put 10 in 10 LLCs. That's also not smart either because, now you got to file 10 tax returns for 10 LLCs. And really, it's overkill. So there's a whole strategy that really would require a little bit more time than I have here now. Everybody has a different situation. But you don't have to buy an LLC. You can buy in your personal name. But there's different pros and cons, and everybody's individual situation will be different.
Cool. All right. So we have another one that I think somehow relates to the previous one. But are there any drawbacks to buying with an LLC, like liability coverage? Can I get liability protection without an LLC?
Yeah, I kind of just answered that. So you can buy in your personal name and get a liability. There's insurance for the house, the building, and then there's liability insurance in an insurance policy. So you can get liability insurance in your personal name. So you don't necessarily need the LLC to cover you.
Okay, cool. We have another question here that I think is very interesting. So what's better to buy, single families or multi-unit properties?
Okay, that's a good question. Really, it's a preference. It depends. It's a preference. So the advantages to single family houses is they're easier to find. They're easier for you to find a good deal than a multifamily property. Although you can find good deals with multifamily properties too. But generally speaking, when you're talking multifamily, like 100-unit buildings, those properties, a lot of big players, Wall Street people are buying, and they are buying them at very low cap rates. So they're not going to be super advantageous for you to buy. However, there's a whole business in multifamily property where, you can buy the property and the rents are low and you can fix the property, increase the rents. And the way that they value multifamily properties, anything over 4 units, they value it based on the cash flow. So if you buy a property and it's rented low and you fix it up, and you raise the rents, you automatically increase the value of that property, and you can either flip it or refinance it. And sometimes it's easier to finance a $5 million building than it is $100,000 building. I'm talking multifamily, or 5 million, 10 million, because banks actually really like to do those loans, but they will expect you, they'll give you probably 75%, but they will expect you to come up with 25%. But there are methods. I mean, there's tons of people that basically how they do those big multifamily deals is they go to the bank and they get a loan, and I'm telling you, banks love to finance those. They'll give you a 75% loan, and then they'll go borrow the 25% from investors. And they can sometimes get in a deal for no money and just have a piece of the deal. There's a whole strategy to that. Again, need a little bit more time, but multifamily, you can do some really cool stuff that way. I find that you can find many. There's obviously more single family deals. You can find many more deals in the single family market. But the thing that, one of the negatives is they call them scattered sites. So would you like to have 100 units in one spot, or would you like to have 100 units that are all over the place? And that's also a personal preference. There's pros and cons to that too. But yeah, it's up to you. But I can explain it depending on the person, what works for them.
Sounds good. So next question here is, and by the way, we have some great, like we have so many great questions that I think this is like separate masterclass. So next question. Can I wholesale properties without a license?
That's a good question. If you ask me this question, can you wholesale property without a license? If you asked me this question even 2 years ago, I would say absolutely. Now, they are starting to make, wholesalers get licenses in some places. It's really not in a lot of places, but it is becoming more and more talked about. And the real estate agent community is really trying to force wholesalers to get a license. But in the places where I know that you do need to get a license, it's really not that big of a deal. It's like a $300 fee. They're just trying to get taxes from people right now. But right now, I would say 98% of the United States, you do not need a license to wholesale. Generally speaking, you're just buying and selling, a contract, well, if you flip the contract, you're not buying and selling, you're flipping the contract. But generally speaking, 98% of the country, you do not need a license for that.
Cool. Okay. Next question we have. All right. Who are Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae?
Okay. Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae are basically government entities that back 30-year mortgages in the United States. So, I don't know how important it is for everybody to know that, but, most countries don't have 30-year mortgages. We do in the United States. And what happens is you go to Wells Fargo to get a loan. Well, Wells Fargo is putting you in a product that will be backed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And basically what happens is if you are going to default on your loan, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac will back that bank. So it makes banks a little bit more, banks are open to doing more loans that are Freddie Mae, Fannie Mac backed, because they know if something were to happen, they can get the money from the government. So again, you can only get 10 mortgages, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Most of the time, you probably if you have a mortgage already, it's probably backed by one of them, and you don't even know. But they're government entities that back loans.
Cool. Sam is asking, what are the best markets for rentals?
What are the best markets for rentals? Okay, so
obviously, to write stuff down. I think this is very important. They should be writing this down.
Okay, I hope you're writing it down. So, well, first off, I obviously have my preferences, but I won't go there. Every market, you have to evaluate for rentals. There's the 1% rule, and basically, if you're buying a house for $100,000, I'm just using that number, and if 1% of 100,000 is 1,000. If the rent is 1,000 or more, then you are over the 1% rule. This is a rule that almost every real estate investor in the United States that is buying rental properties knows. Then it's a pretty good deal. So if for instance, if the rent was 500, it would be under the 1% rule. If the rent was $1,500, it would be much over the 1% rule. And you can use that with any number. So, if you're buying a $250,000 house, 1% would be $2,500. Now, there's a couple caveats that I like to add to that. A couple things that make steroids for a market. So one, you want to definitely beat the 1% rule. The second thing is property taxes. Property taxes are super, super important. And in the United States, obviously, the owner of the property pays the property taxes. So you want to look for places where the property taxes are not high. Property taxes, and if they're not high, and there's a lot of markets where they're not high, but as soon as you buy a property at a higher price, they adjust your property taxes. Like I know they do that in Texas and stuff. So, you want to avoid those places where if you bought a house, somebody bought the house for $30,000 10 years ago, you want to avoid that. As soon as you buy it for $100,000, they're going to raise the property taxes. So property taxes are very important for me in a market that I'm looking. The other thing is I don't like condo fees or homeowners associations or anything like that. That's just an added expense. So I don't buy properties that, well, first off, everybody has different reasons to buy real estate. I buy real estate for cash flow. Some people are buying real estate solely for appreciation and they want to buy in a nice market, like, high-end couple $1 million properties. I personally do not, if it's got homeowner fee or condo fee, I don't want to buy the property. It's just an extra expense. I don't get anything from that expense. I don't get to use the, doorman or the valet parking or the whatever. So I don't like that. So 1% rule, property taxes, no condo fees. The other thing is it investor friendly place to invest? There are some places that sometimes are investor friendly and then they switch. Investor friendly mean, is that city or town happy to have investors there, or are they driving them crazy and adding expenses to them and giving them more inspections and making it hard for you to do business? So that's very important too. So those are some of the facets I use for finding the best rental market.
Cool. We have some more questions here that they're really interesting questions.
Okay.
Loyal is asking, do you invest in STR?
Short. I can't believe I didn't even talk about that. So STR is short-term rental. So this is like your Airbnbs of the world. So one of my best friends, it's all he does. He does short-term rentals. I have short-term rentals. Generally speaking, this is a tricky one. You can make a lot of money in short-term rentals, and but when you talk about cities and towns, not being easy to work with, they really, you got to make sure that wherever you're investing in STRs or short-term rentals, let's call them Airbnbs because everybody knows that. Wherever you're invested in Airbnbs, and they don't have to be Airbnbs, I can tell you that friends of mine, and even mine, most of my short-term rentals are corporate rentals where you get like traveling nurses, that kind of stuff. But what's important is the market. Is the market friendly to, the markets are changing the rules. Some markets say, hey, yeah, we were good with short-term rentals here, Airbnb. Now we're not. You got to stop, complete your whole business. So, some of the advantages are, what I like about it is you can buy nice property in nice areas and get a higher return than you would traditionally do if you were going to rent it out to a traditional tenant. Usually, if you buy in an A neighborhood of a city, you're not going to get a very high return. You're going to get a low return. Obviously, you would hope you get a good tenant, but that's not always the case. But if you Airbnb the property, you're going to get a higher return. You're obviously going to have more expenses, but you're still going to end up with a higher return. And usually you can use the property too. So if you're buying a nice property in a nice city, you might, hey, maybe I'm going to spend summer in such and such place or a week there, so you can also use it yourself. Some of the negatives are you have to buy the furniture. The furniture doesn't last forever. But it does help you get to be able to cash flow more with a type property, which is pretty cool. The other thing you can do is you don't have to buy a property to Airbnb the property. You can do what I call is lease to rent. You can, basically sublet the property. So you can rent a property from in a nice area. And then obviously you need to talk to the landlord and make sure they're okay with you subleasing it. And then you just Airbnb it. So you rent it, let's say you rent it for $2,000, you Airbnb it. Hopefully you get $3,000, $4,000 minus your expenses. And you just make the VIG between what you're renting it for and what you're re-renting it for. And then you don't even have to buy the property. You still have to furnish it. Sometimes it's already furnished, but there's a whole separate business that you can make in short-term rentals. And it's another subject that we will talk about in the future, but it's pretty interesting. And but again, make sure you're not in a city where you can't do it. I've made that mistake too. You go in a city and you think you can do it, and then the next thing you know, they change the rules and you can't do it.
Cool. Great question here. Freddie, I own 3 properties with no mortgage in the properties.
Yep.
How do I cash out?
Okay. Well, Freddie, first off, if you own 3 properties with no mortgage, first off, congratulations. That's really good. Second off, if you're not going to cash out immediately, you should put a mortgage to yourself on them so that they're covered. They're not just these open assets for people to go after. But how do you cash out? I mean, you can go to, I don't know, if you owned it for more than 6 months, you can just get an appraisal at fair market value, and a bank will give you 80% of that. If your credit's not so good, you can get a private lender to refinance you, but you have a ton of options. But especially if you owned it for more than 6 months, you're going to get whatever the appraised value is, 8%. You're going to get cash, and I would take that cash and not go buy a Ferrari. Go buy some more houses with it. It's amazing.
So we have our senior specialist who is online, and it's also connected with us in the masterclass.
Okay. Hey there, buddy.
He's saying, tell Freddie, who just asked that question, to click the button to talk to the specialist that our specialist, our senior specialist, Phil, wants to talk to him because he has many opportunities that he thinks he can,
Okay.
take advantage
So
of.
Phil, the senior specialist, said, click the link to talk to him, and he's gonna help you out, Freddie.
All right. So we have some more questions here. Hold on 1 second.
A lot of good questions. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, great questions.
Appreciate everybody sticking around for this long. So a lot of you still here. I really appreciate that.
By the way, we just got to the mark of 10 people,
Wow.
on your boot camp, but we have 2 people asking if there is additional space. Can we add 2 more people to the boot camp because clearly the button is no longer working. So can we add 2 more people?
Really? Okay. So apparently we already made the 10, but now I'm on the spot to let 2 more in. We'll let 2 more in, but remember, bring your A game. I want really hustlers in here, and we'll make it happen. So yeah, we'll get that button fixed.
We'll open 2 more spots for those that really want to sign up to the 30-day boot camp. And okay, so I was laid off my job last fall. Can I still get a mortgage to buy property?
So I just want to repeat it so everybody hears. You were laid off last fall. Can you still get a mortgage to buy property? Yes, you can. It's a little tricky. And again, you could also you could get private financing because again, they don't care about they only care about the particular property. So the answer is yes. We would need to know a little bit more. And again, you can click the link to talk to a senior specialist too about that. And we'll try to help you out, but for sure you can get a mortgage.
Okay. I'm getting another one, which is funny, but how do I sign up?
How do you sign up?
How do I sign up to the 30-day boot camp with a doctor?
Is the link back there?
Yes, it's back on.
The link's below. So, refresh your page and there's a link down below that you can sign up for the 30-day boot camp. And then if you want to talk to our senior specialist, you can click the other one for him. But also, give him 24 hours, because I'm sure he's going to get a lot of questions and some people. So, don't be mad if we don't get back for 24 hours.
They're also asking, can you go over the pricing for the 30-day boot camp?
Sure. All right, let's pull that up. All right, 30-day boot camp here. All right, so you're going to get 3 weekly live sessions. That's two 1-hour sessions, and the Facebook live one, that's, all of us live. 1 weekly inner circle roundtable, which is question and answers, and it's going to be with fantastic people, a lot of like-minded individuals, other business owners, other, leaders in our businesses in different categories. You're going to get, which is crazy, I can't believe my senior specialist is on here. You're going to get unlimited WhatsApp access to my senior specialist for 30 days. Just that is worth $2,500. I can tell you for sure. You're going to get 2 one-on-one calls, and you're going to be in our private Facebook group. So, I mean, really, guys, this is like a $50,000 thing, a value that, normally it would cost $2,500. But again, please, I'll sniff out the people that are not serious. Don't sign up for it if you're not serious. You really don't want to make money, and you want to make money now. I only want people that are serious and want to make money now. We also have the silver, for $1,500, which is also 3 weekly sessions in the private Facebook group. And again, only tonight, you get the WhatsApp with my senior specialist, and you can pay in installments. You can pay half tonight and half in 2 weeks.
Those are the bonuses.
They're the bonuses. Yeah.
I have something to share with you that's funny.
Okay.
And this is important. So Phil is asking me, is telling me, unlimited WhatsApp questions coming to me. Are you joking?
Tell him to go to bed. Sorry, buddy.
That's funny. Sorry, Phil. We love you. But yeah, they're all going to him. So we have some more questions that I think are very important. My credit score is around 590. Can I still get a mortgage?
Your credit score is around 590. Can you still get a mortgage? Yes, you can. And actually, man, I could do a whole seminar on this. We can get your credit up. First off, we can get your credit up. And for some of you that, if you're interested in how to get your credit, we can get your credit increased by 100, maybe even 150 points. There's programs for that, and such fantastic things that they can do. And trust me, you would have to qualify for it. But even with 590, we can get your mortgage, and we can probably get it fixed. But, for people that are interested, maybe you're at 7, maybe you're already at 620, you want to be at 720, there's definitely, you can click the senior specialist. I should do a masterclass on that too. But, there's methods to getting your credit up, and we can help you with that.
Cool. Great question coming your way. I have 150,000 in my IRA.
Oh,
what options do I have, if any, to use that money to invest in real estate, and should I?
Okay, first off, I'm very upset that I didn't put anything about retirement accounts or self-directed IRAs or anything. So the question is, I have $150,000 in my IRA. What can I do with that? So first, if it's an IRA, usually that is you worked at a company and it was a 401k and they rolled it into an IRA, and now you're invested in a bunch of crap that you don't even know. You can roll that into what's called a self-directed IRA. And a self-directed IRA, you can buy property in. You can flip contracts in, which is insane. You can wholesale property in your self-directed IRA. You can actually get loans. Your self-directed IRA can get loans. So to answer your question, definitely click the senior specialist thing, and we'll help you with that. But you can definitely get that money to work in real estate, and you can do stuff like flipping contracts in real estate too. I mean, you can do crazy stuff with it, but yes, you can. And now if you had just like a 401k or something like that, another thing you can do, you can borrow from your 401k and you pay yourself interest, and you can invest in property. And then when you flip the property or do whatever, you can just put the money back. You can flip property in self-directed IRAs as well. If you have a regular IRA, you can roll it to a self-directed IRA. We should write this down for a master class on this. But man, I'm really embarrassed that I didn't even mention anything about that. But this was not, this is, you can do amazing things. There's so many things you can do in real estate. Really.
Cool. We keep going with some more questions.
All right.
And we are getting to the end of the masterclass. So it is the last chance for people to benefit from the 2 bonuses of signing up today during the class. which is number one, they'll get unlimited access to our senior specialist, Phil, who has been working with us for more than 10 years and has more than 30-year experience in real estate. And aside from that, you're going to be able to pay installments. So what that means, you can pay half of it today and then the rest in the next 14 days. And that is, like, honestly a great.
Okay, so we probably got 5-10 minutes for that, guys. So,
yeah.
you know.
We have another good question. So Mick says, greetings from Philly. The real estate doctor has been my RE mentor for the past 2 years. And now I'm in the top selling agents in Philly and Baltimore.
Well, I think that was just a nice shout out. Hey, Mick, how are you, buddy? You know, I appreciate the kind words. Mick came over from, you know, the other side of the world, didn't know what was going on in Philadelphia. And now he's one of the top producers in Philadelphia. And he is an investor realtor. So, you know, shout out to Mick. If anybody, you know, wants an investor realtor, you can hit our senior specialist and we will. And he works in Philadelphia and Baltimore. He's the man. So I appreciate the love and you know, I'm going to give it right back.
Another question. Are you available to do private coaching and mentoring?
Yes, I'm available for private coaching and mentoring. You can go on our website, therealestateDoctor.info.
Yeah.
And there's a products page and you can click that, or you can just click the senior specialist and Phil will tell you all about it.
Yeah. If I buy property somewhere out of state, how can I find somebody to take care of it?
Okay. If you buy property out of state, how can you find somebody to take care of it? Well, first off, if you bought in the same state, you know, I wouldn't want you to take care of it. You know, you want to hire a competent property manager. You know, I don't want to say I made the mistake. I mean, I managed the first 25 houses that I had. I thought I was saving some money. Usually these property managers charge 10%. Sometimes it's lower than 10%. You know, you'd be crazy not to have a competent property manager for that little money deal with your tenants and the laws. And I can tell you, like, you know, as I go into when I go into another state, I don't try to manage, you know, states have different, it's all the same, but it's all a little different. So you want to hire a competent property manager. We can help you. You know, we have a list of questions that we can help you with in order to figure out who's a good property manager, but it's super important to get a very good property manager. And you should never manage your own property. You shouldn't even waste your time. You don't want the tenant to have your phone number. That's for sure.
Right. So we have one here. What are the qualifications for a private lender and what do they typically look for if it is my first property?
Okay. So qualifications of a private lender and what are they looking for? A private lender, really, they don't, and if it's your first property, they don't care about you. They really don't. I have some private lenders, they just tell me, give me the property, let me get an appraisal, I'll tell you what I'll lend on it, and then you tell me who's going to be the borrower. They don't care who the borrower is. So they are lending based on the property. Now, I know there are some private lenders that will ask more questions and want to check your credit, you know, but generally speaking, there's most of them. They know their business, they know the properties, they know the markets, and they're lending based on that property. They're not lending based on you. So, you know, it really doesn't matter to you. It just matters you find a good deal.
Cool. All right. So we're getting to the last portion of questions. Okay. I owe my own condo and only owe another $25,000 on it. Should I use my savings to pay that off, or should I buy another property?
Okay, you own your own condo and only owe $25,000 to pay it off. Should you use your savings to pay that off, or should you buy another property? So, you know, you get me in. I have two. First off, a finance guy will always tell you that, and I don't know how much that property is worth, but you're probably better off to refinance that property, take the money and buy another property. So now you have another property, and it's really not, as long as you don't take the money and go buy a Ferrari and Lamborghini, you're in a better spot. Now, you might be able to buy a couple properties. I don't know how much the property is worth, but now let's say you could buy two properties. You now will have two properties and you will have that debt spread across. Not two properties, three properties. You'll have three properties that are appreciating and two properties that are cash flowing and mitigating some of the increase that you will get in your original property. You'll obviously have a bigger payment, but that payment's now spread across three houses. I can actually put that in like in an Excel and show you how financially this is a no-brainer for you to do. That being said, there is some peace of mind. I don't know what your rest of your personal life is. There is a lot of peace of mind to have a paid off property that you call home. But regardless, if you do pay it off, I will put a line of credit on it so that you could access that for a couple of reasons. If there's something happens in a rainy day, you want to have a line of credit so you can go right to the line of credit. And second off, if there's a deal that comes across that you can quick flip money real quick, or you could lend. You could arbitrage the money. You could borrow the money from the bank at a lower rate and lend it out to somebody at more money. I can tell you that my mentor paid off their house probably like 25 years ago, and they had lines. They have done so much stuff with that line of credit, investing in real estate, and they borrow the money from the principal house, put it in a deal, flip the house, refinance that house, put the money, pay the line down again, and over and over again. But yeah, you really need to, access to capital is something that you will have, and you really need to leverage it up, but wisely.
Cool. Okay. So we have this one that I think is very interesting. I own a fourplex in Washington. I live in California. That's worth $500,000. I only owe $150,000 at a 3.5%. Should I take out a HELOC at 7.5%, or do I refinance on the whole property at a 6.75%?
I feel like I'm back in high school or college. So we'd have to really look at this, but basically you own a property in Washington, you have a first on it at a very good rate, and then you can either put a second on it at a 7% rate or refinance the whole thing at a 6% rate. I'm a numbers guy, so I'd have to lay it out for you, but I would definitely, I would probably, for ease of it, put a second on it at the 7%. And, hopefully it's like, but you got to make sure that you put it into something that's going to make you more than 7%. But click the senior specialist. I'm sure, Phil, we can put it together and tell you which is the better way. That's not something I can answer without doing an Excel, but for sure there is a real yes or no answer to which one to do. My first thing is, first off, get the capital. This is the time you want the capital because you can really deploy it now.
Doctor, I've got $75,000 in cash. What can I do with it to make the most profit in the next 1 to 2 years?
I mean, $75,000 in cash, believe it or not, you can do a lot with. $75,000 in cash in some of my markets, you can flip a couple times a year. You can make $50,000. That $75,000 can make you $50,000, in 12 months easily. You can probably maybe more. So $75,000, I would definitely click the specialist and talk to us. We can definitely show you how to make money, but you for sure don't want to just sitting in the bank. Everybody knows we have inflation here. So the value of that money is going down over time. You need to have it turning. So you got to get it turning.
I can tell him what to do with the 75,000. I mean, not with the 75,000, but out of those 75,000, he could probably pick up 2,500 and invest in the in the 30-day.
I'm sure it would help you. I'm sure it would help you if there's a slot left to pay the 2,500, and we'll talk.
Absolutely. So last question I have here. Okay, this is I think great question. What do I do, and what do you recommend I do in case my tenants stop paying?
Okay, what do you do if you're in case or
if they stop paying?
If they stop paying, first off, if you have enough houses, tenants will not pay. And this is really dependent on different states have different rules, et cetera, et cetera. But you're just gonna, it's very simple. You're just gonna have to file eviction, get rid of the tenant. There's other options too. So it depends on your market. There's a thing called cash for keys. So sometimes if you're in a market that takes forever to evict, 6 months. Like COVID was impossible. So, you can pay people to leave. It's cheaper. So you go, hey, I'm going to pay you $5,000, $2,500, $1,000, whatever. Just leave. I know it sounds crazy for somebody that's not paying for you to pay them to leave, but sometimes it's cheaper to do it and get the house back faster, and they leave it in better shape. So that's a funky option that you can do. But, look, you just file eviction. It's part of the game. You're going to have evictions. Don't be afraid of evictions. You plan for the evictions. But the key was, to qualify the tenant, not, you got to go back to when you put the tenant in there. What did, things happen to everybody, especially in the economy that we're having now, but you really should qualify the tenant a little bit better, and maybe you won't have as many evictions. I'm not saying you have a ton, but I can tell you that, I can't imagine how many people I've evicted, so many people, because, it is part of the business. So.
Cool. We're wrapping up.
All right.
Wrapping
up. Last chance here.
Wrapping up. So, how about we talk about the boot camp, just to wrap things up.
Okay. So, we're going to wrap it up one last time about the boot camp. So, click the link below for the $2,500 boot camp, where you'll get 3 weekly live sessions with me, my senior specialist. You'll be in our inner circle. You will get, only tonight, unlimited access to our senior specialist, which is insane. 2 one-on-one calls, private Facebook group, and you can pay half tonight and half in a couple weeks. So that's basically it, guys. If you didn't get any value from this, I think that's crazy. I hope you got tons of value. I have a lot more to give. Please, follow me on Instagram, and I hope I can help you. And for the people that have signed up tonight, I'm truly grateful. I'm going to make you guys so much money. It's going to be nuts. So everybody have a great night. I really appreciate you. I'm grateful. Have the best day of your life.
Last question.
Oh, no.
What are we expecting of the 30-day boot camp?
What are you expecting?
Yeah. Somebody asked, what am I getting from the 30-day boot camp?
From the 30-day boot camp, you're going to get what you put into that boot camp. Like, literally, we're going to go over topics that that we talked about tonight, and topics you never heard about in detail. But what I really want to do is I want to take, what is important to you and what you want to do. The most important thing for me is to understand, because everybody's different, is to understand what it is your goal is. What's your goal? Do you want to make cash now, flipping properties? Do you want to wholesale? Do you want to buy assets and accumulate wealth, real estate wealth? We need to understand what you want to do. And once we understand what you want to do, we are going to tailor this 30 days for you. But I can promise you, whatever it is in the real estate that appealed to you here, and that we think applies to you, we will put those two together, and you're going to make money. You're going to make money in 30 days. So please, if you're interested, click that link below. And I'm really excited to work with really serious people that, this is a commitment. It's a commitment from me to you, and it's a commitment from you to me. So I hope you guys have a great night. Anything else there, Alex?
Yeah, one more.
One more.
One more. And one of the people that signed up said,
okay,
she's very excited to start. She's been following you since day one.
Wow.
On social.
Thank you.
That one of the things that she really looks forward to is the fact that she can talk to you and ask you questions and stuff like that. So that is going to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are going to talk to me. You're going to talk to my senior specialist. I'm telling you, I love the interaction one-on-one. I wish I could see you all right now, but definitely we're going to be chatting together, and I'm, we're going to make it happen. So
yeah, one
really
more
serious.
Spot, by the way, one more spot.
One more spot. So you got click, click, click. Tonight's the only night that you're going to get that unlimited with my senior specialist and the payment plan. And listen, it's going to be the best $2,500 you ever spent. I guarantee that.
I have a 9 to 5. Can I still join the boot camp?
Absolutely. If you have a 9 to 5, you can still join the boot camp. We will make sure that the times work for everybody. So yeah, 9 to 5 doesn't matter. I'm not going to make it, during your lunchtime. But I don't know where in the world you're hailing from. But we'll make it happen.
The other great thing about, if you can't join live for those live sessions, you can always still see it pre-recorded.
They will be recorded too, but we'll also get live with you. We'll make sure that we can meet with everybody for sure.
Cool. So we're good.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for hanging around for 2.5 hours. It's been fun. It went really quick. And I hope you guys have a great night. Again, have the best day of your life. Thank you very much.